Urgent shouts rang out. Hurry up! A young man and woman were running for their lives. Quick, run! Uni, her face drenched in sweat, turned back. In the distance, a young man was aiming his bow at her. The arrow shot out at once, piercing straight toward Uni and making her collapse instantly. Damn it, she had worked so hard to get to this level. Iuni fawen unwiling. Yet every single time, this guy ruined it and wouldn't let her clear the stage. And every time, she died by his hand. The image gradually faded, and the words "game over" appeared. In the real world, Uni angrily threw aside her VR headset. Damn it! She clenched the game console in fury. She had played it 28 times already, and every time that Regent Prince killed her. So who exactly is the player here? Me or that Regent Prince? Saying that, Uni fiercely tore open a bag of snacks. No way, this won't do. I'm definitely leaving a bad review. She puffed out her cheeks, her face red with anger. If you got the guts, let me try romancing him. I'll definitely make him taste suffering and show him what real pain is. At that very moment, the VR headset suddenly flashed with streaks of light. The conquest mission has been changed. Login successful. As soon as the words appeared, the surrounding space rapidly changed. Uni's eyes widened in shock. What the hell is this? Before she even had time to steady herself, Uni disappeared. A moment later, she woke up. The space around her had become completely unfamiliar. Uni looked around curiously. What is this? She quickly climbed down, but the bed was too high, and she fell straight to the floor. Seeing that, the palace maids rushed over in panic. Miss, is this how you take care of Miss? Do you know she's the Prime Minister's daughter? If anything happens to her while she's in the palace, don't dream of keeping your heads. Yes. At that moment, a system screen suddenly appeared before Uni's eyes, and she stared in astonishment. I don't remember starting the game at all. Thinking that, she ignored the palace maids and walked straight ahead. How'd I end up logging into the game? I have to log out first. She slowly reached toward the words log out, but instantly countless warning messages filled the air. Log out error. Seeing that, Uni helplessly slumped to the ground. I can't log out. At the same time, the system panel changed. Romance mission settings. Right then, Han Thin's portrait appeared on the screen. The son of a convicted minister of Nam Kingdom, exiled for many years. But in the end, he rose above countless others, became the Regent Prince, seized immense power, and slaughtered innumerable people. A cruel and vicious man. Reading that, Uni's eyes filled with panic. This mission target is the Regent Prince? She suddenly burst into tears. I'd rather just die. If I die, I can log out of the game, right? The system replied. Dream on. Warning, this time, after entering the game, the host's life has been bound to it. If the host dies, she will die for real. Only by completing the mission can she return to the real world. Seeing that, Uni was utterly despairing. She sprawled on the floor and cried loudly. Why is my life so miserable? At that moment, the system panel changed again. 60 centimeters. Uni widened her eyes. Is that the Regent Prince's location? Thinking that, she got up and dusted herself off. If I can't return to reality, then I have to go see what kind of person this Regent Prince really is. A while later, Uni climbed the steps and looked up. Is this the place? There wasn't a single person around, and the words Imperial Prison made the whole scene feel even colder. Is he here? Uni nervously walked past the cells. He's locked up here? But how could that be? Forcing a smile, she thought, that devil killed me 28 times, and he could actually be in a place like this? Then Uni began to imagine things. Maybe he's torturing victims in there. Just then, a voice rang out. You beast! The sharp voice made Uni freeze. A beautiful young woman was hurling insults at a boy, and that person was none other than Han Thin. But it didn't stop there. The young woman even swung a whip at him. You beast! I'm going to teach you a lesson. Let's see if you dare run away again. Uni was utterly stunned and accidentally knocked over a vase nearby. Are you kidding me? Hearing that, the young woman turned around, then smiled. Xiaoyu, when did you get here? Come over here. Han Lin, age 10, princess of the Nam Yin Kingdom, arrogant and difficult by nature. Uni slowly walked closer and frowned. Lift your head. Hearing that, the guard yanked Han Thin's head up. At that moment, Han Thin's eyes were filled with hatred. Favorability, minus 999. Uni was a little startled. So this guy really is the Regent Prince, the man who will one day bathe the imperial city in blood? On the other side, Seeing Uni in a daze, Han Lin smiled. He ran away yesterday. Fortunately, you informed me in time. Otherwise, I still wouldn't know how to punish him today. Hearing that, Uni's face stiffened. I told her yesterday? Was my past self trying to get herself killed? Han Lin thought for a moment. Using the whip this whole time has made my hand hurt. Then she came up with an idea. How about we use a branding iron instead? At once, panic showed on Uni's face. So this princess actually likes cruelly torturing people? Thinking that, she quietly spoke up. Princess, why not let it go? No matter what, he's still your brother Han. Han Lin's face turned cold as she looked back. Let him go. He's a criminal. Besides, his crime is unforgivable. Xiaoyu, what's wrong with you today? Uni forced a smile. He's the son of a convicted minister, so his majesty will have his own way of dealing with him. There's no need for your highness to do it personally. Your hand will hurt. Han Lin gave a crooked smile. You really do care about me, huh? Fine. I'll leave him to you. Uni was a little surprised. Really? Then please rest assured, princess. Right at that moment, Han Lin suddenly locked the cell door, leaving Uni utterly confused. She stood there blankly for a moment, then after a few seconds panicked and reacted. Princess, what are you doing? Let me out. Han Lin laughed softly. Since you like defying my orders so much, then stay in there with him. Hearing that, Uni could only shed helpless tears. If I weren't in this body, I'd have slapped that girl's mouth crooked already. Just then, Han Thin began walking toward her step by step. Uni noticed it too. Wait a second. She nervously turned around. The game has started. Looking at his dark expression, Uni was so frightened that she collapsed to the floor. I just transmigrated, and now I'm already going to die. She was so scared she hiccuped a few times. Uni didn't dare open her eyes. Raising her hand, she shouted, Calm down. I definitely can help you escape. Anti Narstavro, you're nothing but the Prime Minister's daughter. At that, he widened his eyes and raised his fist at her. All of you are treacherous. Seeing that, Uni quickly raised her hands to cover her head. Han Thin, the charge of colluding with the enemy against you was a setup by someone else. Han Thin's fist suddenly stopped. His eyes were full of icy coldness. Han Thin demanded through gritted teeth, How much do you know? Iuni Fadawin. This matter is important. Wait until I get you out, and then I'll tell you. Han Thin still didn't trust her. Why should I believe you? Uni answered seriously. You have to believe me, because I'm the only one who can save you. Just wait and watch me perform. Hearing that, Han Thin thought to himself, shouldn't she be screaming in terror when she sees me? How could she be this calm? Uni reached out and pushed him back. Step aside. She took a deep breath. Watch this. I'll show you what a game master can do. Thinking that, Uni immediately collapsed to the ground. Han Tin Fruvnid. Hey, Uni gestured at him. Just stay quiet. I'll definitely save you. Han Thin thought to himself, on the contrary, I want to see what trick she's playing. A while later, the guard started noticing Uni. She thought smugly, that arrogant princess may act cold, but deep down she's soft-hearted. She's still just a child. If she finds out she went too far by accident, let's see if she panics. Let's see if in a moment you'll be frantically calling people to take me out. At the same time, somewhere else, a bowl fell and shattered. Han Lin panicked. What? She fainted. Seeing Han Lin's face turn pale, the palace maid beside her timidly said, Princess, she is still the Prime Minister's precious daughter. If anything happens, Han Lin angrily cut her off. Why are you still talking? Hurry and go see if anything happened to her. If something really happens to her, it'll all be your fault. A while later, Han Lin hurriedly ran inside. That beast, what did you do to Xiaoyu? She glared and shouted, If anything happens to her, I'll make you all pay with your lives. Han Lin frowned and barked, Quick, take her back. Summon the imperial physician to examine her. Nothing must happen to her. Meanwhile, in a place no one could see, Uni blinked. Just wait, I'll come save you. Han Thin remained silent. Some time later, Uni nervously tossed down a rope. Sitting with one leg crossed over the other, she frowned. So troublesome. I have to save someone from the princess's hands. And then I also have to raise the Regent Prince's favorability. Thinking of that, she burst into tears. What kind of game is this? It's ridiculously hard. At the same time, a loud voice rang out. Prime Minister, madam. Hearing that, Uni hurriedly pulled the blanket over herself and immediately went into fake sleep mode. Mrs. Doi slowly walked over. Uni, her eyes turned red with tears. Weren't you fine just a moment ago? How did you suddenly fall ill? Prime Minister Doi sternly followed up. What are you crying for? The imperial physician already said she was just frightened. He continued coldly. Who told her to disrespect the princess? Why provoke the princess? She deserved this. Hearing that, Uni was incredibly annoyed. She really wanted to whack him on the head. Before leaving, Prime Minister Doi gave another order. From today onward, Miss is confined for 1 month. No one is allowed to plead on her behalf. Uni angrily bit her lip. Damn it. I just got out of the imperial prison, and now I'm locked up again. Then how am I supposed to rescue that regent prince from the imperial prison? The more she thought about it, the more confused she became. If I'd known, I wouldn't have talked so big. Talking big is embarrassing now. Could it be that I really only have one ending? Thinking that, Uni sat up with tears in her eyes. No way. At that moment, someone suddenly smiled. He lightly touched Uni's shoulder. What? You're not pretending to sleep anymore. Uni turned pale with fright. Oh, she slowly looked up. A system panel appeared. Lu Xianghe, a top scholar from a poor background, currently the tutor of the crown prince and the princess. In the future, he will become the youngest grand tutor in the Nam-Yen kingdom. Upright and noble, gentle and courteous. Reading that, Uni suddenly blushed. It's teacher. He's always by my side. He's also my teacher. He's taught me so many things. And on top of that, he's so gentle and warm. He's always treated me well. He's a super sweet romance route. At that moment, Lu Xianghe lightly tapped her on the head with a book. What's with that perverted look? Prime Minister Doi ordered me to keep you confined. And during this confinement, I've already prepared your lessons. Hearing that, Uni immediately fainted. Lu Xianghe could only lift her back up. He asked gently, Xiaoyu, what's wrong with you today? You're not like your usual self at all. Did the princess bully you? Hearing that, Uni's eyes suddenly lit up. Wait. She stared intently at the man in front of her. He can help me save the regent prince. Found it. Seeing Uni remain silent, Lu Xianghe asked again, What is it? Did the princess really bully Xiaoyu today? Uni puffed out her cheeks and rested her face against his shoulder. Xiaoyu can't say it. Lu Xianghe was puzzled. Why not? Uni's eyes grew misty with tears. Because if Xiaoyu speaks badly of the princess, father will dislike Xiaoyu even more. Then he'll confine Xiaoyu again. Then Xiaoyu might be driven out of the house. Xiaoyu would become a beggar and wouldn't be able to keep studying with teacher anymore. Hearing that, Lu Xianghe smiled softly. It's all right. Just tell me. If Xiaoyu gets driven out, then I'll bring Xiaoyu to the Lu residence and continue teaching you. With a frightened expression, Uni began recounting what happened. All right, then Xiaoyu will tell you. The princess privately tortured Han Thin. Xiaoyu only said a few words, and the princess locked Xiaoyu in there with him. Xiaoyu was so frightened that she fainted. Lu Xianghe was a little surprised. Privately tortured him. Uni then grabbed his hand. That's right. Teacher, if you didn't see it with your own eyes, you wouldn't know how the princess was tormenting Han Thin. He's so pitiful. Teacher, please hurry and save him. Lu Xianghe frowned. The son of the Han family is a criminal guilty of treason. Thinking that, he pulled his hand free. If I intervene and save him, people will suspect I'm colluding with others to betray the country and harm the people. Lu Xianghe turned away. This depends on each person's own views. Even if you think he is pitiful and forgive him, others may not. Hearing that, Uni stood there blankly. So he doesn't want to help after all? At the same time, Han Thin was being tortured. Beast, Han Lin Smi led wickedly. Do you know why I'm beating you? Because you made Xiaoyu faint. So today I'm going to teach you a lesson. Han Thin lowered his face darkly. Ever since that day, he had unconsciously kept remembering Uni's figure. Before leaving, she had firmly said, I will definitely save you. It had already been 3 days. Remembering the wink she gave him, Han Thin smirked. So I actually believed she could save me. Han Lin was very surprised to see that. She frowned. You still dare laugh? Looks like you're tired of being whipped, aren't you? Then let's change things up. With that, Han Lin lightly clapped her hands. Han Thin's cold gaze followed her movements. Han Lin actually brought out a brazier of hot coals and held a rod over the fire. With a vicious look, Han Lin aimed it at him. Just because father hasn't done it doesn't mean I can't. Your father dared collude with traitors. That crime is even worse than being a common criminal. Since you didn't die with your father back then, I can't possibly let you live in peace. I'm going to make you live in pain and humiliation. Hearing that, Han Fin's eyes widened, and he sharply retorted, My father was always loyal to the country. My father was not a traitor. You're not allowed to insult him. Han Lin ligged softly. Don't make noise. It'll be over soon. As soon as she said that, she slowly pressed the glowing rod toward Han Fin. Han Lin smiled in delight, but suddenly the rod in her hand dropped to the ground. Han Lin turned around in confusion. It was Lu Xianghe. Seeing him, she stammered, unable to speak clearly. Teacher, frightened, Han Lin unconsciously stepped back. Why are you here? Lu Xianghe replied. Recently, His Majesty has been very concerned about the princess's studies. Tomorrow, I will report your progress to His Majesty. He continued seriously. If you do not want His Majesty to be disappointed in you, then return to the palace and review your lessons. If you refuse, then don't blame me for reporting exactly what the princess has done. Han Lin pouted. Are you trying to threaten me in front of Imperial Father? She raised a brow in disdain. He's only the son of a convicted minister. Even if people know I bullied him, or if he's injured, or even dies, Imperial Father wouldn't blame me. Lu Xianghe then asked sternly, But what if it is private torture? Hearing that, Han Lin's eyes widened. When he was little, the emperor had personally witnessed his mother and an imperial consort being tortured to death, so he could not bear it. Because of that, after ascending the throne, the emperor ordered private torture abolished. From then on, no one was allowed to use torture privately on prisoners, not even on serious offenders. Lu Xianghe coldly said, Do you know that if you commit private torture, the punishment is severe and you could even be imprisoned for 80 years? Hearing that, Han Lin became frightened and quickly tugged at his sleeve. Teacher, please don't be angry. I was only teasing him. I'll release him immediately. Please don't tell Imperial Father about this. She glanced at Han Fin, then ordered someone to untie him. Lu Xianghe then said, Very well. Since the princess says so, I will let it pass. As for this person, I will take him away, so he won't disturb the princess's studies. Han Lin pouted. Fine, I'll do whatever you say. Lu Xianghe then led Han Fin away. Once outside, Han Fin asked, Why did you save me? Lu Xianghe had just started to answer. At that moment, Yuni came running over, and he called out to her, Doi Yuni. She smiled and replied, What a coincidence. Lu Xianghe continued, Running away from home while you're under confinement. Aren't you afraid of being thrown out and becoming a beggar? Doi Yuni spoke softly. I'm not afraid because I had something important I wanted to ask Teacher Lu, so I followed you. It's something really important. Then she turned to Han Fin and winked. Han Fin thought to himself, could it really have been her? At that moment, Doi Yuni ran over and gently wiped the wound on his body with her hand. You're bleeding so much. Does it hurt? Hentin lukteha. Doi Yuni thought to herself, even though the favorability is still negative, even a tiny increase makes me happy. Han Fin then said, Was it you who saved me from the imperial prison today? Doi Yuni pointed toward Teacher Lu. No, it was this kind and lovely Teacher Lu. If not for him, you would have been tortured far more terribly. It was all thanks to Teacher, right? Lu Xianghe lightly poked her forehead. That mouth of yours is sweeter than anyone else's. This old minister will take his leave first. Xiao Yu, remember to go home before sunset. Early morning, 3 hours earlier, at the Doi Prime Minister's residence. Lu Xianghe looked over her work and praised her. All right, today's homework was done very well. Why are you looking at me like that? Xiao Yu. Doi Yuni immediately said, Xiao Yu already told you. Please save Han Fin. Please save Han Fin. Xiao Yu is begging you. You're the best. Lu Xianghe then asked, You still haven't forgotten about it these past 2 days? Ta Yu Ni not that? Of course. After all, you're the only person I can rely on. Teacher Lu turned away. But it would still be very difficult to change His Majesty's will, even for me. Hearing that, she immediately started acting spoiled, her eyes welling with tears. Lu Xianghe gently stroked her head. But it's all right. I'll do my best to help you. With that, he turned and went into the palace. Uni thought to herself, this is a serious matter tied to my life. I can't just sit here waiting around. I have to go see for myself. Does the Prime Minister's residence really think it can stop me? It's time to show off my talent. As soon as she thought that, she hit a book and set it on fire. A moment later, a scream rang out. Fire! The guards rushed in anxiously. Miss, what happened? Uni pointed at the flames. The homework my teacher gave me. It's already half burned up. What do I do now? What if it all burns up? The two guards hurried over to fetch water and put out the fire. Taking advantage of the moment, she ran outside. If I remember correctly, there's a shortcut that leads out of the Doi residence. Soon after, she found it. It really is here. That's Liu Xiang's carriage. If I follow it, I can still catch up. Then she climbed into the carriage. Yuni proudly told Han Thin what she had done and asked, well, what do you think? Aren't I amazing? Han Thin replied coldly, yes, you're very clever. Yuni helped support him. Of course I'm clever. I was born this way. When Han Thin arrived at the front courtyard and opened the door, Yuni asked, this is where you live. They really are trying to bully the Regent Prince. Han Thin said at once, it seems Miss Thoy is not used to living in a place like this. In that case, please return. Yuni refused. No, I worked so hard to come save you. And this is how you repay me? You won't even invite me inside. With that, she sat down sulkily. Han Thin then asked, are you afraid of me now? She shouted, I'm not afraid. Just then, a few drops of water fell over. Why is there water here? Han Thin suddenly collapsed on her lap. Your Highness, Your Highness. You're not dying, are you? Han Thin, the air. She was terrified. What do I do now? What if he dies? Han Thin grabbed her wrist and pressed it against his neck. Stop making noise. I'm not dead. I'm just resting. Han Thin thought back to the past. He had once been mocked by a guard. He's just a brat. What gives him the right to swagger around giving orders? Han Thin was pinned down and shouted desperately, I am Han Thin, the son of Prince Liang, the heir of Yong'an. Send troops at once. My parents will die if reinforcements don't come. But the guards only sneered. You're just a traitor's son, and you still want to give orders? I was placed under house arrest in the imperial city, barely surviving like grass in the cracks, while my parents were left to die on the battlefield. Even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground, I will find the one who framed them. Blood debts must be repaid in blood. After a long while, Yuni softly called out to him, and Han Thin raised his head. Yuni said awkwardly, hey, how about we bandage your wounds first? Han Thin asked, why did you save me? Yuni kicked the door open. Because helping the weak and defending justice is what I do. Saving you is also for my own sake. Once I finish winning your favor and clear the game level, I'll be able to return to the real world. She helped him onto the bed. Just lie down and rest. I'll go find some medicine. Yuni kept rummaging around. Your Highness, you should also think of a way to leave this place. There may be people here suppressing you, but it's different outside. If you want to clear Prince Han's name, then the truth has to be revealed in front of everyone. I'll help you too once you get out of here. Han Thin was silent for a moment before asking, get out? And how exactly do I do that? Do you think this place is somewhere people can just come and go freely? Yuni lifted his chin and gently applied the medicine. Bear with it a little. When the time comes, I'll help you leave the palace. Then she helped bandage him. Not bad. Han Thin let out a sigh, then removed it and wrapped it again himself. Yuni immediately said, hey, what are you doing? I worked so hard to bandage it like that. Han Thin snorted coldly. You really are a clueless child. It should be wrapped like this. Yuni looked embarrassed. Well, it's my first time. She looked at him with pity. He was obviously still just a child. So how much suffering had he gone through to become this skilled at bandaging wounds? At that moment, Han Thin grabbed her hand and pinned her to the bed. What exactly are you trying to gain from me, that you're going this far to save me? He wrapped his hand around Yuni's throat. Stammering, she said, I am helping you because I like you. Han Thin froze. Yuni was frightened too. Oh no. Just then, a eunuch entered and called out, why, Your Highness? Why are you here? The two of them quickly separated. He didn't see anything, did he? Han Thin immediately shouted, why are you still standing there? Get out. Yuni stood up and pretended nothing had happened. Just because His Highness isn't here doesn't mean you can slack off on cleaning. Hurry up and tidy this place. The eunuch lowered his head. Yes, miss, you're absolutely right. This servant will go at once. Han Fin looked at the strip of cloth and thought, she saved me first. I shouldn't have shouted at her like that. At that moment, Yuni was sitting on a swing when a voice called out, "You snuck out and you're still unhappy?" She immediately ran over to Lu Xianghe. "Teacher," Lu Xianghe asked, "what is it? Did you quarrel with the heir?" Yuni waved her hand. "No, not at all." At that moment, Han Fin opened the door and saw Lu Xianghe carrying Yuni in his arms. "Come on, let's go home." Han Fin had just been about to step outside, but then he stopped and withdrew. Holding on to Lu Xianghe, Yuni said sadly, "Once I'm confined again, I don't know if I'll ever get to see the heir anymore." Lu Xianghe asked, "What's wrong? You haven't even left yet, and you're already missing him?" Yuni hurriedly denied it. "No, teacher, don't talk nonsense. Why would I miss him? He just tried to strangle me." Lu Xianghe went on, "Little you, in a few days I'll be leaving for another country, so this is also the last time I'll see you." Yuni immediately asked, "You really have to go?" Lu Xianghe gently touched the tip of her nose. "That's right. So after this, you won't be grounded anymore. But you still have to go to school properly, understand?" Yuni fell into thought. In this game, I've already tried to win favor 28 times, but every time I failed at the very end. From the Prime Minister to the pure-hearted teacher, I've handled every strategy perfectly. But this time, Yuni ran over carrying a box. "Your Highness, I brought you something." The maid ran after her, calling non-stop, "Miss!" Yuni was full of determination. "I absolutely have to win favor points and raise the Regent Prince's affection." When she entered, she saw that none of the things she had brought had been touched, and she was so angry she wanted to disappear into the ground. Yuni kicked the door open. "You blockhead! If anyone's trying to die, it's you. You keep talking about revenge and clearing your mother's name, but you don't even know how to take care of yourself. You're just throwing your life away, and yet you still talk about seeking justice." At that moment, Han Fin suddenly appeared behind her. Yuni blankly turned around. "Your Highness, you're back." She instantly changed her tone and began flattering him. "You're injured, so you should eat more to recover. If you don't eat, your body will grow weak. How can you develop properly like that? Don't you think I'm right, Your Highness?" Han Fin looked at her coldly, then dragged her inside. The maid outside cried anxiously, "Your Highness, let the eldest miss go. If Prime Minister Loy finds out, he won't spare you." Inside, Yuni stood there in a daze. Looking closely today, this guy is really handsome. Sharp brows, flawless skin. If he were in a modern world, he'd be a top-tier heartthrob. This character setup is seriously overpowered. Who designed him to be this ridiculously good-looking? Just then, Han Fin coughed lightly, startling her. Leaning close, he said, "Tell me who framed my father and mother." Yuni stammered, "I only heard about it. I don't actually know." Han Fin's eyes widened, and he slammed his fist against the door. "I couldn't save my parents, and now I can't even find the culprit." Yuni grew frightened. She sighed, then patted him on the shoulder. "Don't worry, I'm the eldest daughter of the Prime Minister's residence. If I want money, I have money. Besides, I'm very smart. Nothing can stump me, so I'll definitely help you find that person." Han Fin said coldly, "There's no need to exaggerate your status like that." She shouted, "You don't believe me?" Han Fin was speechless. "I was talking about your body." Hearing that, Yuni swayed. Han Fin thought to himself, should I keep enduring torment in the palace, or use her for revenge? Then he asked, "Why do you want to help me?" While rummaging through things, Yuni replied, "If I help you, there has to be something in it for me too. First, you have to take good care of yourself and protect your body. Second, if I bring you something, you're not allowed to refuse it, and you have to listen to my arrangements." As she spoke, she broke off a piece of pastry. "Third," Han Fin took the pastry. "Third what?" "Iunis my." "Third, move into my residence." Han Fin nearly choked on what he was eating. Han Lin angrily threw down her brush. At that moment, a woman said, "What's the use of throwing your brush? Lu Xianghe only made you copy as punishment for a few days. But if your imperial father finds out you use torture, think about it. Do you think you'll still be allowed to remain a princess?" Hearing that, Han Lin slammed the table. "I'm the only princess of the kingdom of Nam Yen, and also mother's only daughter." Then she ran over and clung to the woman's arm. "Mother, help me." The woman replied, "This is simple. As long as Han Fin disappears, it'll be over. How can the dead tell the truth?" Han Lin smi lit. Then mother means, The woman looked outside and said, "Lately, I've been uneasy. In a few days, envoys from Northern Jing will arrive. Tell them to think of a way to delay things." The next day, in Yuni's room at the Voy residence, she dejectedly crossed out what she had written. The heir's status is special. Although he is innocent, he has no way to prove his innocence. Rumors have spread so fast that the whole kingdom thinks he is a traitor. Since the matter hasn't been clarified, they also can't kill him yet. If I rashly bring him back to the Voy residence, not only will no one agree, I'll also bring disaster on myself. This is giving me such a headache. I need to quickly check the character information again. Yuni stayed up all night reading. She discovered something and immediately cried out, "What?" The maid rushed in. "Miss," Yuni said urgently, "pass down my order. Have the guards go wait at the city gate for the messenger envoy. They must bring him into the palace no matter what. Even if he refuses, they are to escort him in by force. This is a matter of great importance. They must bring him in before morning court begins. Whether we can clear his name or not depends on this." The maid said, "Miss, your complexion doesn't look very good today. Why don't you rest first and skip going to the palace?" But Yuni kept working on her plan. "No, I absolutely have to go." By dawn, she was yawning repeatedly. Though sleepy, she still brought things to Han Thin. Just then, a hand lightly patted her shoulder. "Little you," Han Jun smiled and said, "I'm apologizing to you on Han Lin's behalf. If you're no longer angry, then come fly kites with Linner and me." Yuni took 3 steps back. "Why, Your Highness the Crown Prince? If the princess sees me, she might rush over and knock me out again." "No, I'm too scared," Han Jun then said. "Then come to my place for breakfast instead, as long as you stay away from Han Thin. Little you, don't keep hanging around that traitor. My mother has already taken care of him personally. Besides, before Grand Tutor Lu left, he told me to take good care of you. I can't let the Grand Tutor down." Yuni was full of worry. The imperial consort went to the Regent Prince's place? Oh, Ehen Tinisil. That girl came again? He had just run out when he saw the imperial consort there. She said, "I personally sent someone to invite Your Highness to my palace for a talk, but you didn't come. So today I had no choice but to come in person and invite Your Highness for a visit." Han Thin quickly shut the door. This definitely can't mean anything good. Where can I hide now? Or should I go warn that little dwarf? The imperial consort gestured, and the guards charged forward as she said, "Why is Your Highness shutting the door? I heard there was a small conflict between you and the princess, so I only wanted to invite you over and clear things up." A guard kicked the door open, but there was no one inside. The imperial consort's face darkened. "Go find him and bring him back." Han Jun smiled and said, "Little you, don't worry. That heir definitely won't escape." Yuni stretched out her hand and handed him a wooden box. "I'm really sorry, Your Highness the Crown Prince. Think of this as a gift from me." Then she ran off at once. Han Jun immediately ordered, "Follow Little you." At that moment, the guards were searching everywhere. "The noble consort has ordered the heir's arrest. Quick, go look over there." Han Thin hit up high and thought anxiously, "How am I supposed to find that little dwarf now? She's always the one who comes to me. I've never once gone to her. If I get the chance, I'll definitely." Just then, a voice rang out, "Your Highness." "Iunis my," Han Thin asked. "How did you know I was here?" She thought to herself, "Of course, I used a cheat tool." Han Thin immediately jumped down and covered Yuni's mouth. "Keep your voice down. The noble consort hasn't gone far yet." She then said, "It's not safe to stay here either. Do you think the ones trying to capture and frame you are just the princess and that consort? It's not as simple as you think. It's the story system that's setting you up like this." Han Thin was stunned after hearing that. Yuni grabbed his hand. "Whatever, just hurry and leave. Otherwise, who knows what might happen to you." They had only run a few steps when they were spotted. "I knew it." Hen Yun stared in shock. You. The guards also ran over. "He's over here." Han Thin looked around. Yuni jumped onto him. "Run." Han Thin caught her and sprinted away. Han Jun reached out after them. "Iuni." At that moment, another group appeared and blocked the two of them. "Sorry to spoil the mood, everyone. His Majesty sent me to invite Your Highness to the main hall regarding a certain matter. I ask that Your Highness put Miss Thoy down and come with me." Han Thin said coldly, "If I let go of my hostage, would I still have any chance of living?" The man smiled and replied, "Your Highness is overthinking it." Yuni quickly whispered, "Just go with him." When we reach the main hall, you'll get news about your parents. Trust me." Hearing that, he put her down. Han Jun immediately stepped forward and blocked Yuni's path. Then he turned and said, "Clinging to each other like that. What kind of behavior is that?" Yuenhui looked at Tin worriedly. Yesterday, while she was investigating, she found this scene. She pressed on the image, and it appeared. "Aren't you afraid of death? Assassin, do you know that deceiving the Prime Minister's daughter is enough to get you killed?" The man replied, "Is that so? But the secret I have now is enough to make all of you fear death even more. Even if you're not afraid to die, your curiosity will drive you to seek death yourself." Yuni then said, "Then tell me and let me hear it." He leaned close to her ear. "It's a hidden secret report." At that moment, in the main hall, Your Majesty, Prince Liang and his consort were surrounded and killed at the frontier. Their deaths were tragic, but they were not traitors. The rest still awaits investigation. Han Thin's expression darkened. Yuni muttered, "So when I was trying to win his favor, I completely forgot that the Regent Prince was standing on the path where someone would try to assassinate me." The assassin took out a scroll. "These scraps of paper have been locked inside a box for 8 years. Prince Liang and his consort." Hearing that, she smiled. Could Prince Liang really have had a consort? He immediately said, "Miss Thoi, you really are devious. The one you're talking about is the heir of Yong'an. The ones I'm talking about are the Prime Minister and his wife, who died 8 years ago." Yuni immediately asked, "Then who hid this?" He smiled and asked, "Want to know?" "Iuni bozai then." He instantly poured cold water on that hope. "I'm not telling you." Yuni punched him at once. He leaned in close to her. "Prince Liang is currently looking for his enemy. Since I like you, I'll help you return this paper to its original place by writing on it. This matter has nothing to do with Miss Thoi." Yuni cursed. "Damn it, that's not hiding it at all." He lifted her chin. "Exactly, but when Miss Thoi dies, she'll surely look both beautiful and pitiful." Furious, Yuni shoved him away. "Stay away from me." The vision ended, and she sighed. "In the end, I still don't know who the culprit is." In the main hall of the Imperial Palace, everyone was whispering among themselves. At that moment, the Emperor placed a hand on Han Thin's shoulder. "This is Qing'er, the only son of my Imperial elder brother. Fortunately, he managed to preserve his life and return to the palace." Han Thin clenched his fists, struggling to suppress his anger. The Emperor continued, "Prince Liang's household sacrificed themselves to protect our borders. I must reward them with countless jewels, rare paintings, precious calligraphy, and a golden plaque. The heir of Yong'an has also come of age and may inherit the title of Princing, and he is one of our most honored heirs." Everyone knelt down. "Your Majesty is wise." Han Thin was consumed with fury. Wise? If he was wise, why didn't he save my father and mother? Why did he let them die? The Emperor then said, "Your father's residence will now be entrusted to you, and do not forget your father's instructions, to become a brave and mighty general. As a subject, you must be loyal." Han Thin was filled with grief and rage. "My parents died without justice. This is clearly a scheme against my father. How can it end so simply? Who exactly framed my parents? Who exactly framed my parents?" After that, a carriage left the city. A guard then asked the Emperor, "Didn't your Majesty say you did not wish to let him leave the palace?" The Emperor replied, "A single report saying Prince Liang and his wife died on the battlefield, and now everyone knows. What excuse do I have left to keep him imprisoned? On the contrary, if I reward him, the people will praise me, and I may even buy his loyalty." The subordinate immediately knelt. "It is because this servant is foolish." The old emperor continued, "Your loyalty pleases me. On the other hand, those who are too clever only keep me awake at night. This Yong'an heir is clever, but unfortunately, he will not live long." After Han Thin returned to the residence, his subordinate said, "I'll only escort you here for now. Tomorrow I'll send servants to tidy up the residence for you. I take my leave." The moment Han Thin opened the door, Yuni popped out. "Goodness, you scared me." Han Thin angrily shoved her to the ground. "What are you yelling for? You know who harmed my parents, don't you? If you knew, why didn't you tell me? Or are you happy to see me like this?" Yuni rushed forward and hugged him. I am sorry. She burst into tears. I know you hate me, but I didn't want to see you being bullied. Han Fin thought to himself, I don't hate you either, but after everything that's happened, I don't know whether I should trust you or not. Yuni continued, but I've thought about it a lot. Do you want to come stay in my house? At that moment, she drowsily fell asleep in Han Fin's arms. In her hazy dream, Yuni smiled slyly. Little heir, where do you think you're running? She bit the stuffed tiger in her arms. Come here already, and let me kiss you. Just then, Yuni half woke from her sleep, saw the tiger, and screamed in fright. Crying, she ran outside. Why would I dream about that? As Yuni walked and cried, she suddenly saw Han Fin and shouted, Han Fin, what in the world? Why was Han Fin drinking tea with her mother? Her mother waved her over. Yuni, you're awake? You've grown up lately, haven't you? You made a new friend and didn't even tell your mother. Is this His Highness the heir? Did you grow up in the capital? Antin immediately replied, No. Since I was little, I follow my father and mother to the borderlands. This is my first time returning to the capital. Mrs. Doi smiled. Then you must be very skilled in martial arts. Unlike this useless girl of mine. Han Fin said, Miss Doi is surely skilled in many things. Mrs. Doi was delighted. You really do know how to talk. Anyone would enjoy hearing that. Unlike my Yuni, who runs around outside all day, who knows to see whom. And she's already of marriageable age. Yuni finally spoke up. Mother, you're asking too many questions. Mrs. Doi immediately said, If I don't ask, then what? Handsome young men don't come by every day. Of course, I have to seize the chance. I need to reserve my future son-in-law. What if he marries someone else? Yuni thought to herself, he really is handsome, but I've already seen the grown-up version, and he's even more handsome. She then asked, Mother, don't you know this is the yeoman heir? Mrs. Doi still smiled. So if it's the yeoman heir? Of course I know. Yesterday, the heir thought you were sick and watched over you all night. Did you two quarrel yesterday? Hearing that, Han Fin nearly choked on his tea. Yuni quickly replied, I didn't quarrel with the heir. Please step aside for a moment, Mother. I have something I need to say. She tried to push Mrs. Doi away, but the woman only smiled teasingly. That's right. Young people have a lot to sort out. It's time to make up now. Yuni flushed with embarrassment. I told you, we didn't quarrel. Just then, Han Fin stepped forward. The two of them turned back at the same time. I am sorry. Both of them stared at each other blankly. Han Fin's favorability had dropped by 700. Yuni was stunned. Wait, how did it drop that much? When did it happen? Was it while I was asleep? Han Fin spoke first. From beginning to end, this was my fault, not yours. I shouldn't have treated you that way. Yuni's eyes welled with tears. I shouldn't have made you uncomfortable either. All right, among all these sinister, scheming people lying in wait, perhaps only little you is a ray of hope. Han Fin said awkwardly, Earlier, I promised Miss Doi that I would move into the residence. I've already asked Madam for permission. I wonder, do you still want that? Yuni looked at him. Han Fin was unbearably cute. She grabbed his hand. All right, it's a deal. From now on, I'll help you investigate the murderer. Let's start over properly. I am Doi Xiaoyu, daughter of Prime Minister Doi. I have money when I want money, people when I want people, so your highness can trust me. Han Fin clasped her hand. I, Han Fin, swear to avenge my parents. No matter what happens in the future, I will remain Doi Xiaoyu's ally. Yuni said shyly, You already promised to be my ally, but you do look a bit short and probably can't run very fast. So, in the future, if we ever need to run, you have to hold on tightly to my hand, all right? Regent Prince, welcome to my power-up scene. Beneath the romantic setting, surrounded by drifting golden leaves, Han Fin held Yuni's soft hand. All right, as long as I still have breath left in me, I absolutely won't let go. Yunis my happy Li. Han Fin suddenly tightened his grip on Yuni's hand, so hard her face turned green. Ow. Angry, Yuni smacked his hand several times. Hey, I said, don't abandon me, not crush my hand to pieces. Let go. Han Fin wore a cold expression. So, you've already been thinking of ways to run away? Yuni quietly blew on the red marks on her hand. Propping herself up with one arm, she raised her chin and answered, Of course. We have enemies in the open and enemies in the shadows. If we can't win, we run. That's called strategic retreat. Han Tin hesitated. Is that so? He slowly stepped closer to Yuni. Yuni narrowed her eyes at him. Suddenly, Han Fin lifted her up. Then let me test it. Uni was utterly flustered. Han Fin thought to himself. Earlier, Grand Tutor Lu seemed to carry her like this, but it still doesn't seem quite right. Han Fin deftly supported Uni's shoulders. She cried out in alarm. In the next instant, he had scooped her up into his arms. Han Fin looked pleased with himself. That's right. If I carry you like this, you won't be able to run fast. Then Han Fin abruptly slung her over his shoulder. Han Fin said seriously, if someone comes after us, if I carry you like this, we'll be able to escape. Uni said angrily, Han Fin. Han Fin replied coolly, what? Uni's face turned bright red as she struggled lightly. Put me down right now. Hearing that, Han Fin gently lowered her. Uni budit hivili. Han Fin asked, what is it? I didn't even do anything. Why are you so scared? Your heart is beating that fast. Uni falut wadili. Annoyed, she grabbed Han Fin by the collar. Do you even know the difference between men and women? Do you know you're not supposed to carry me like that? Han Fin didn't seem to care at all and calmly answered, we're practically at death's door, and you still care about things like that? Blushing, Uni turned away and tried to calm herself. Calm down. You're the lofty female lead of this game. You have to control your emotions and your heartbeat. Han Fin wondered, but Grand Tutor Lu carried her like that before. Uni stammered, do you really think the way you carried me was the same as Grand Tutor Lu? She lowered her head. I have no idea where your eyes are if you think that looked the same. Uni picked up a bowl of water and drank continuously. I have to drink water and calm down. Don't get worked up. Standing behind her, Han Fin fell into thought. Uni set the bowl on the table and asked, Your Highness, do you know what comes after if you can't win and you can't run? Han Fin replied, There's nothing about that in military texts. Uni cheerfully said, You join them, of course. The palace is where all the sons and daughters of noble families gather to study. The royal family is deep and complicated, and all the terrifying figures show up there. Besides, everyone there has complicated relationships, and more or less all of them are tied to the court. Inside the palace, a slender hand lifted a writing brush. Shai still hasn't come? The man asked. Han Quan, the crown prince's guard, replied, yes. But if the grand tutor has already arranged it, then sooner or later the young lady will surely come. She has probably been delayed by something recently. Han Quan thought blankly. When I saw her, she seemed in normal spirits. Her illness must have improved too. He ordered the guard, tell the third prince not to go looking for trouble with Uni. Yes. At that moment, in the palace, Uni and Han Fin walked in. The palace values both literary and martial talent. It's about time you joined too. Han Fin replied, so this is what you meant by, if you can't beat them, join them. It really would be a pity not to go. But once we do, it'll be dangerous. Uni turned and said, but you're a noble heir. You've got super privileges. She smiled slyly. Who knows? Maybe inside the palace we'll find some clues. And it'll also let us hide the Regent Prince's true strength for now. So later you can reveal it and scare them half to death. Hunting smiled faintly. Uni waved at him. We're here. Come on over. Looking at her, Han Fin thought, kind, brave, strong. I'm truly fortunate to have her help. He answered, I'll do as you say. I'll enter the palace and study. Uni pushed open the door. Your Highness has made a wise choice. Now come look at the place where you'll be staying and see whether you like it. Han Fin gently pushed the door open. Inside, the room was extremely neat and orderly. In a clean, tidy room, Han Fin looked around for a while. Then he cupped his hands toward Uni. I've troubled Miss Thoy. Yes, you have troubled me a lot, so you'd better treat me as well as I treat you, understand? Han Fin and Uni stared at each other blankly. Before he could say anything, Uni had already stepped outside. Wait for me a moment. Han Fin looked at the brand new set of clothes on the table and reached out to touch it. Just then, Uni called out, Han Tin posset. Uni waved at him. Han Tin. He slowly stepped out. It turned out that Uni had already hurried into the room across from his. A romantic scene appeared before him. Do you like it? At that same moment, Prime Minister Thoy pushed the door open and walked in. Miss Thoy, your father was only away on business for a few days, and you've already neglected your studies? And now you've even learned to skip classes again. Father, you're back? Prime Minister Thoy asked his daughter. What are you doing? Uni quickly denied it. And nothing at all. Prime Minister Thoy grabbed her by the back of her robe and lifted her lightly. Your mother said lately you haven't been going out to play or socializing with anyone. So you've been getting close with. Before he could finish, Prime Minister Thoy saw Han Fin in the room across the way. Han Fin lowered his head. Greetings, Prime Minister Doi. Uni helplessly covered her face with her hand. It's over. Prime Minister Doi froze. Young. At that instant, Uni panicked when she saw her father collapse. Father, hang in there. Don't faint. In another room, Mrs. Doi was sniffling as she cried. Such a sweet, quiet, polite child like Han Thin, and yet he had such a painful past. It's truly heartbreaking. Lying on Mrs. Doi's lap, Prime Minister Doi said helplessly, I fainted from anger. You should feel guilty toward me. Without my permission, you let him move in. Mrs. Doi promptly shoved him aside. You didn't leave that child any way out, so why should I feel guilty toward you? Prime Minister Doi sat up. If he keeps living here, it will definitely bring huge trouble. But how did little you even get to know him? Mrs. Doi's eyes brimmed with tears. But this little heir isn't bad at all. He's handsome, well-built, smart, and obedient. Not only that, he's also a lofty heir. He's perfectly suited to be the son-in-law of our Doi residents. Prime Minister Doi could only say helplessly, fine. If Madam has chosen, then so be it. Only then did Mrs. Doi happily begin massaging his shoulders. Come now, let me see whether the lump on your head has gone down yet. A few days later, Uni lay limp over a small table. These past few days have been really comfortable, but it's been a bit of a waste of time. Beside her, Han Thin was practicing calligraphy. Can't you at least write your essay properly? Uni widened her eyes and said, as long as I can pass the entrance exam and get into the academy, isn't that enough? Why be so serious? Han Thin tugged at her sleeve and lifted Uni upright. How about this afternoon, I take you horseback, riding, and archery to lift your spirits? But before she could even sit up for a second, Uni flopped back down again. No, I'm not going. It'd be great if I could just get into the academy through the back door. Han Thin sat properly and continued writing his essay. Uni lay slumped beside him, glancing at him from the corner of her eye. Earlier, his favorability shot up rapidly, but now it doesn't seem to be rising at all. These past few days, I've had to be careful with every little thing I do, or else his favorability drops. Then she happily picked up a bunch of grapes and ate away. Uni doodled cheerfully, but Han Thin paid her no attention. I've tried these past few days to raise his favorability just a tiny bit, but in the end it still hasn't gone up at all. Suddenly, Uni fell. It turned out Mrs. Doi and Prime Minister Doi were walking in. She grew anxious. Seriously. No matter what world or era it is, the fear of your parents checking your homework never changes. 1 month later, on the admissions list, Doi Xiao Yu, Han Thin. Standing in front of the admissions board, Uni yawned repeatedly. At last, all the hard work of the past month has paid off. Suddenly, someone coughed. Doi Xiao Yu. The third prince mocked her. You still dare come to the academy? Hearing that, Han Thin frowned. Uni replied, why wouldn't I dare come to the academy? The third prince crossed his arms and said, this prince already tried to stop you from coming, and in the end, no matter what happened, you still came. The third prince was the empress's son. Crown Prince Kai Ham had an upright and brave personality, but he was impulsive. Han Thin casually lifted Uni away, completely ignoring the third prince. Furious, the third prince shouted, hey, Uni poked her head up and said to Han Thin, that's the third prince. Aren't you afraid he'll get angry if you do that? Han Thin replied calmly, didn't Miss Doi say that I should know how to make use of my status? I'm only doing what Miss Doi told me. Uni gave him a thumbs up in praise. Well done. Han Thin was about to carry her away when Han Jun ran over and blocked the way with an outstretched arm. Pointing arrogantly at the two of them, he said, just wait. One day, I'll make both of you kneel and beg me. A familiar voice rang out from behind him, making him flinch. Why would Xiao Yu need to beg third brother? The one who had arrived was Han Quan. The moment Han Jun saw his elder brother, his heart nearly jumped out of his chest and his face turned pale. He pouted and cast a side glance at him, thinking, why does he act so imposing every single day without even saying much? Han Quan angrily stepped forward and scolded even Han Thin. And you put Xiao Yu down. Han Thin was not flustered at all and answered coldly, Your Highness the Crown Prince is meddling too much. Clinging to Han Thin like a little monkey, Uni cried out, I don't want to. Her eyes brimmed with tears as she asked fearfully, Your Highness, can you carry me over there? Han Fin glanced at her, then carried her away with one arm, right in front of Han Jun's dumbfounded stare and Han Quan's darkened face. As Han Fin carried her off, he smiled and said, "The young lady's arrogance really does suppress other people's pride." She patted his shoulder and smiled in reply. "Isn't it because I have the air protecting me that I can act so fearlessly?" Inside, she smugly thought, after all, Han Fin is the one drawing all the hatred. When they reached a corridor, Han Fin set her down. Uni immediately began hopping about. The third prince is fighting for the senior bloodline, and the crown prince is fighting for seniority too. Basically, the third prince heard that you had conflicts with the crown prince and the princess, so he wanted to pull you over to his side. She pointed at herself and continued, "And he brought me into it along the way." After hearing that, Han Fin looked puzzled. "How do you know that you're not the main target?" The two stopped in front of the lecture hall. Reaching out to touch the door, Uni answered, "Now that I think about it, it's been a long time since I saw that sickly princess. I might as well go in and check on her." The moment the door opened, Han Lin's dark, gloomy face appeared like a ghost. Frightened, Uni slammed the door shut. Her face turned pale as she lowered her head and thought, "Speak of the devil. Fate really works in mysterious ways." Inside the classroom, the princess heard those words and stamped her foot in anger. "Doi Xiaoyu, what do you mean by that? Open the door for me." Uni desperately held the door shut and said in panic, "How about I just skip this class? This is a disaster." Witnessing the whole thing, Han Fin laughed and teased, "Only now you're scared? Isn't it a bit late to realize certain things?" He reached out and placed his hand over her small hand on the door, then bent down and comforted her. "I'm here. Do whatever you want." Uni smiled to herself. "That's right. Lord Regent is my backer now." So she curled her lips and pushed the door wide open. The moment Han Lin saw the scene outside, she was stunned. Seeing Han Fin and Uni walk in together, she stammered, "Why you?" Uni stepped forward and angrily asked, "By the way, hasn't your highness the princess apologized to the heir yet? No wonder there's a rule in this dynasty that whoever is the fiercest is the one in the right. You still don't even know where you were wrong, yet you're standing here making a scene?" Han Lin retorted, "You want me to apologize? Dream on. If I apologize, that means I was wrong." She panicked. Mother Consort said that as long as I don't admit it, no one can blame me. Just then, a spear suddenly came flying over. Han Fin recognized it at once and immediately reached out, pulling Uni off to the side. The spear stabbed straight into the spot where she had just been standing, making her face go pale. The spear stopped right in front of Han Lin's feet, frightening her so badly that she dropped to the floor screaming. As for the person who caused all this, Han Jin merely rubbed his nose and snorted coldly. Han Lin angrily cursed him. "Are you trying to murder this princess? Today I'm going to report this to Father Emperor." Han Jun crossed his arms smugly. "Go ahead. If you don't, then you're the coward." Han Lin pointed at him and scolded, "You're truly reckless." The spear was pulled free. Han Jun took it in hand and pointed it straight at Han Fin's face. "I don't have time to deal with you. The person I came for today is him." Hearing that, Uni was shocked. "Huh? What does this have to do with His Highness the Heir?" Han Fin cast him a cold glance and replied, "Looking for me? Third Prince, don't stir up trouble when you have nothing better to do." Han Jun answered immediately, "I'm not that bored. Since your surname is Han too, I'll make it clear. Your admission results were obviously fake. Fake beyond all reason." Han Trin issued a challenge, boasting that he could score full marks in horseback archery and hit every shot, even firing at random. Even a 6-year-old could make up something more believable than what you just said. "Come to the training grounds. This prince will personally have this fraud from the countryside beaten and thrown out today." Uni stepped forward, her small frame shielding Han Fin behind her as she said, "Han Fin, stand back. Let me handle this." She angrily pointed at Han Trin and scolded, "Han Trin, that's slander. Just because you say he cheated doesn't make it true. Do you know how strict the entrance examination is? Or have you never taken it, so you wouldn't know?" Han Fin reached out and gently pressed her head down. He stepped forward and said, "He's nothing but a pampered pet bird. I can handle him." Han Trin furiously pointed at himself and asked, "A pet bird? You're calling this crown prince a pet bird? Do you know how many people in the capital I've defeated?" Han Fin and Uni both looked at him with plainly doubtful expressions. His face darkened as Han Fin said coldly, "Talking is useless. We'll know once we compete." Just then Han Lin stepped forward and called, Uni. She gestured to her. I have something to say to you. Uni immediately covered her ears in alarm. No, I don't want to talk to Princess. Inwardly she cried, Han Thin, save me. I have a bad feeling about this. Suddenly, her whole body was lifted off the ground, startling her. Han Thin shot Han Lin a cold look and warned, stay away from her. Han Lin crossed her arms smugly. Oh, protecting her? Let's see just how capable you are, claiming you can protect someone. I wonder who it was that got whipped so badly they couldn't even dodge, and now you're putting on airs about protecting people. Han Trin then put on a fake voice and loudly echoed her for Han Thin to hear. What an overbearing princess. I hate you even more than your brother. Han Lin angrily pointed at Han Trin, who was making faces at her, and cursed, Han Trin, just you wait. After that, the group went out to the practice field, where a row of targets had already been set up. Han Thin chose a bow, and under the gaze of a crowd, he and Han Trin took their places at the line. Han Trin said with arrogant confidence, just 10 arrows. I guarantee I'll have you crying your way home. At that moment, Commander Su appeared and sneered. Youth really does overflow with energy. With a glacial expression and a faint smile, he said, I heard someone question my standards of evaluation, so I came at once to clarify matters. Was it you people who doubted me? The moment they saw the smile on Commander Su's face, the students all shook their heads frantically in fear. Han Lin pointed at Han Trin and tattled, it was him. She repeated with emphasis, it was definitely him. Han Trin's face instantly turned pale. Everyone else also pointed at Han Trin at the same time, making him panic and shout, hey! Han Trin and Han Lin glared at each other, sparks practically flying between them. Watching from the side, Yuni thought to herself, I didn't expect that after coming to ancient times, I'd still get to see classmates fighting. This is actually kind of entertaining. Commander Su opened his eyes and fixed Han Trin with a cold stare. If the third prince does not trust the heir's results, then that means you do not trust an examiner like me either, correct? Han Trin swallowed hard in panic. Damn it, how is Han Thin's examiner that smiling snake from outside? I'm done for this time. In the end, Han Trin was forced to hold up the target. Since you don't trust me, third prince, then hold the target and serve as the post. Commander Su lifted the quiver and said to Han Thin, 10 arrows isn't much, but it'll do. If even one arrow goes astray, you'll disappoint the third prince. Remember to do your best. Han Tin nodded. Yes. Then he drew 3 arrows at once, knocked them on the bow, and aimed straight at Han Trin. Shooting one by one is too slow. Let's end this quickly and fire all at once. Otherwise, it'll delay Miss Thoy's classes. Standing nearby, Uni cheered, don't worry about my classes. Just shoot as much as you like. Seeing that, Han Trin cried out in fear, hey, are you crazy? His face turned deathly pale as he tried to dodge. That's attempted murder of a prince. But the 3 arrows had already shot out, making him freeze in place, not daring to move. 2 arrows struck the target boards on either side, while one flew straight into the bullseye of the target Han Trin was holding. He slowly turned his head, trembling as he looked at the arrows. Uni and Commander Su witnessed the scene and applauded together. Oh, Commander Su said, well, third prince, do you still have any doubts now? Han Trin had been scared half out of his wits. Commander Su stepped closer and, still wearing that refined, gentle smile that did not reach his eyes, warned, if you stir up trouble again over your petty conflicts and disrupt internal harmony, I won't care even if it costs you your life. I'm very busy. I still have to arrange everyone's class schedules, so I won't stay here any longer and be bothered. I'm leaving. Don't trouble me again. Everyone nodded frantically and obediently. Commander Su looked satisfied. Good. Uni glanced at him and thought, this NPC's words are insanely powerful. How'd I forget he existed? Just then, Han Thin covered his mouth and coughed up blood. Uni ran over in fright and called, Han Thin. Supporting him, she asked anxiously, why are you so cold? Is it because your old injury still hasn't healed? Why didn't you tell me? Han Lin stood nearby with her arms crossed. Noticing Uni's gaze, she proudly said, "Don't look at me like I'm to blame." He was already covered in wounds before he even entered the palace. Han Fin held his abdomen and said, "I'm fine." An old wound just reopened. His face was pale and cold sweat covered his forehead as he thought, "But this time I can't endure it any longer." Uni kept calling worriedly, "Han Fin." He pressed his lips together and did not answer. Then his whole body collapsed onto her. She panicked and kept calling, "Han Fin." With his weight bearing down on her, she lost her footing and slipped. They both fell heavily to the ground. She turned pale and looked at Han Fin, unconscious beside her, crying out, "Han Fin." Back at the Doi residence, the physician examined him and said, "This illness is truly somewhat strange. I've never seen anything like it before. For now, I can only treat the heir's injuries first. There is nothing more I can do yet. The heir should wake up soon." At that moment, Uni and Mrs. Doi were both standing beside the bed. Uni anxiously watched Han Fin lying unconscious there. Mrs. Doi shed tears and sighed sorrowfully. It's only his first day at school, and this child has already fallen ill. How pitiful. Uni kissed the back of his hand and said, "I was the one who saved him. I definitely won't let anything happen to him." She closed her eyes tightly, then tied her red string onto his wrist and thought, "Here, take some of my luck. You have to recover quickly." In Han Fin's dream, he saw a troop of soldiers advancing with weapons in hand. A figure on horseback appeared before his parents. That person's eyes glowed scarlet, and a cruel smile curled at the corners of his mouth. Han Fin frowned in his sleep, cold sweat pouring down as he clenched his teeth. Then he dreamed of his parents being killed, and Han Fin jolted awake with a cry, "Father! Mother!" He gasped for breath. Only after seeing the familiar surroundings before him did he realize it had all been a dream. Looking down at his own hand, he wondered, why did it feel so real? Then his gaze landed on the bracelet on his wrist, and he murmured, "Doi Uni." Han Fin sat by the bed and looked around the room for a while. Then he stood up and raised a hand to shield his eyes from the dazzling sunlight outside. Uni was plucking flower petals one by one, muttering, "He won't wake up. He'll wake up." At last, only one petal remained on the flower in her hand. She frowned at it. Suddenly Han Fin appeared and called, "Miss Doi," making her jolt and look up. Seeing that he was awake, she teared up and called Han Fin. In the courtyard pavilion, Uni ran around him, looking him over as she asked, "You coughed up blood yesterday, and today you're fine already? Are you really all right?" He avoided her gaze, but his ears had already turned red. "I'm fine. I'm completely normal." Han Fin dropped to one knee before her and explained, "I didn't mean to hide my injuries from you." He continued, "I got this wound when I was being escorted back to the capital by soldiers and was ambushed on the way. I didn't expect it still wouldn't be healed by now." She reached out and gently stroked his face. "It hurts a lot, doesn't it? The physician said your illness is rare. You must have been poisoned by them. This poison must be very difficult to cure." He lowered his head and replied, "Don't worry. I, Han Fin, have not avenged my enemies yet. I absolutely will not die." Uni looked at him sadly and thought, "I never expected the Regent in the game to be poisoned." Her hand, clutching his robe, trembled. She continued, thinking, "I've played this game so many times, but not once did I ever truly understand him. How did he cure himself in the end? I'm trying to change his life, but what if I end up getting him killed instead?" Seeing her tremble like that, Han Fin was puzzled. He comforted her. "It's only a small accident. But why do you look even more worried than I am? Don't worry. Until the day I die, I will always abide by my own oath." She immediately exploded in anger. "You are not allowed to mention death." Han Fin looked at her tightly clenched hand and laughed softly. Meanwhile, she silently steeled herself. I must find an antidote for him. The next day, the two of them returned to school. Seeing Uni march ahead in anger, Han Fin sighed. Why is Uni staying angry for so long this time? I thought she'd be back to normal by the next day. The classroom door suddenly flew open. A dark figure appeared and called, "Doi Uni." The moment Uni saw him, she nearly fainted. Han Fin quickly picked her up, causing Han Trin to fall flat on his back in front of the doorway. Seeing it was him, Uni let out a sigh of relief. That was close. Han Trin grabbed Han Fin's leg and sobbed. No fight, no friendship. Han Fin, can't we really become brothers through martial competition? Han Fin said in disgust, "Let go." Han Trin kept crying. "I already apologized, okay? Please forgive me. This time it was my fault. If you don't forgive me, Mother will beat me to death." Uni curled her lips into a wicked smile. Oh, really? Wasn't there someone who said he'd make us kneel and beg that day? Hearing that, Han Trin bit his lip and muttered, I'm done for. I'm really done for this time. Doyuni was sweating all over. Winning over characters in this system is hard enough, but I never imagined the way to win over the third prince would be through arguing. The more they argued, the faster his favorability rose. Han Trin said smugly, You must admire me a lot, right, Doyuni? Doyuni looked at him with utter disdain. Admire you? Want me to slam your head into the ground? Han Trin put on a deeply affectionate expression. We've talked about poetry, songs, and the philosophy of life. Isn't that because you like me? Doyuni immediately kicked him. Get lost. At that moment, the system prompt appeared. Do you want to end the game? Doyuni was full of determination. One of these days, I'll make the third prince taste the bitterness of romantic debate. At that moment, Han Trin was still clinging tightly to Han Thin's leg. You used to bully me. Your retribution has arrived. She took Han Thin's hand and swayed it. My heir, I just have a little cleverness I'd like to put to use. Han Thin gave a light cough. If eldest Miss Thoy agrees, then I have no objection. Uni immediately said, I'm in a very good mood right now, so go on and tell me. Just as Han Trin was about to speak, Han Lin walked over. How about I explain? Soon it will be the Mid-Autumn Grand Banquet. The students in the Palace Academy will each form teams and present a tribute at the banquet. When the time comes, the team that wins first place can enter the treasury and choose a reward. Accordingly, the results will also be recorded in the academy. There have always been students expelled for making serious mistakes. Doyuni thought to herself, looks like there's no avoiding this. Best to take first place, get into the Emperor's treasury, and see whether there's anything useful there to cure the heir's poison. Suddenly Han Trin shouted, But if I make a mistake, Mother will beat me to death. The third prince is so talented and so clever. It's only a small performance. Surely you can handle that. Han Thin immediately added, Perhaps the third prince simply can't find anyone willing to team up with him. Hearing that, tears welled up in Han Trin's eyes. You're trying to kill me. If I'm so clever and talented, then what's wrong with taking me along? Doyuni turned to the others behind her and asked, Is there really no one willing to join the third prince's team? Everyone fell silent. Han Lin raised her hand and said, Uni, how about we work together again, just like before? Doyuni walked right past her. I'll team up only with the heir or the third prince. After all, if we want first place, our lineup can't be too weak. Hearing that, Han Lin froze, while Han Trin was so delighted he nearly rushed over to hug her. Really? Really? But Han Thin blocked him. Doyuni continued, But we need the third prince to help us with something first. Han Trin was overjoyed. Say it. No matter what it is, I'll definitely help. After that, the three of them walked off happily. Han Thin said coldly, Keep your distance. Doyuni added, We just need to trouble the third prince to help us find someone. Left behind, Han Lin was furious, and she went to speak with Han Quan. Uni doesn't want to be friends with me anymore. Han Quan set down his teacup. You came here just to tell me that? Go apologize, and don't stop until Uni forgives you. Han Lin, you can't keep being so stubborn. Han Lin shot to her feet angrily. So now even you're blaming me too? Is that it? Han Quan said coldly. We already agreed on this before. Han Lin continued. That's right, we did. We said we'd find a way to marry Uni to you as crown princess, so she could stay in the palace with us forever. But up until now, you still haven't dared to do anything. Uni already likes that heir of Yongin. Hearing that, Han Quan's expression darkened. In class, Han Thin worked attentively on his lessons, while Doyuni doodled aimlessly, and Han Trin slept without a care in the world. The old teacher walked over and rapped him on the head. Later, after class ended, Han Thin sighed and said, I didn't expect the person you wanted to find would be a little eunuch. If I hadn't gone to investigate, we might still not have found him. Han Thin said, As long as he's still alive, that means we were right. Han Trin thought to himself, the palace rules are strict. Even if a servant dies, it still has to be recorded. At that moment, Doyuni tugged at him. Things are going smoothly. Very good. Let's go today. The first step in finding an antidote for the heir officially begins here. As they walked, Han Trin asked, Eldest Miss Thoy, the tribute presentation at the Mid-Autumn Banquet isn't far off. Have you already thought of what tribute to prepare? Doyuni answered leisurely. Why the rush? We just need to prepare the performance. If it doesn't suit His Majesty's tastes, then it'll be no better than some monkey show. She hooked her arm through Han Thin's. Luckily, we have His Highness the heir. There's no reason your imperial father would reject the performance we prepare. First place is practically guaranteed. Han Tin smiled faintly. Han Trin rushed up and said, "So that's it. Then I really must thank the heir." Inside the palace, a eunuch was sneaking around when the three of them spotted him. Thoyuni pointed straight at him. "That's him." He turned and ran. Thoyuni shouted, "Quick, catch him." The other two rushed forward and seized the eunuch. Terrified, he cried, "I'm just a menial servant. None of this has anything to do with me. Honored nobles, please spare me." Han Thin asked coldly, "Did you put something in the food? Speak now." The eunuch stammered, "I only carried the dishes from the kitchen. I didn't put anything in them. I also didn't mean to steal a bite. Please spare me." Han Trin then said, "Looks like he's telling the truth. The heir really was poisoned before." Thoyuni added, "He used to be terrified of the heir. It seems he didn't have the courage to drug him." The two of them let him go. She thought to herself, the eunuch secretly ate the heir's food and still lived just fine. If Prince Zheng had chosen to inspect earlier, he wouldn't have been poisoned. Then why was there no sign of it while he was still in the palace? Could it be? She tugged on Han Thin's sleeve. Han Thin bent down and asked, "What is it?" Thoyuni whispered, "It's possible there was no actual poison in your food, only something that delayed the onset. If the poison had truly flared up and killed you inside the palace, that would have drawn too much attention." Han Thin's expression darkened. Han Trin asked, "What's going on? What are you two whispering about?" Han Thin thought, if that's the case, then from the time father and mother were defeated north of the Great Wall, to the ambush and poisoning when I returned to the capital, there must have been someone orchestrating all of this from behind the scenes. With such a large operation, there must be traces somewhere. Thoyuni immediately patted his face. "Han Thin, first you need to find a way to stay alive. Everything else can wait. We absolutely have to win the tribute presentation at the grand banquet. Maybe then we can obtain the antidote." Han Thin took Thoyuni's hand. "Eldest Miss Thoy is absolutely right." That night, Han Thin was deep in thought. Just who killed father and mother and now wants me dead too? Just then, a shadow flashed past outside. Han Thin sprang up and grabbed a blade. "Who's there?" "Zulfust." This figure seemed somewhat familiar. Han Thin chased after him. The moment he stepped inside, a group of people dropped to their knees. "Greetings, Your Highness the heir. There are 21 of us from Yin in total. We have waited for you for a very long time." Han Thin said coldly, "When I returned to the capital, I brought 24 riders of the Yin cavalry with me. I had thought we would make the journey safely." The subordinate immediately replied, "It was not Your Highness's fault." He continued, "We cared nothing for life or death. We have been hiding in the city and keeping control of Prince Liang's residence, only waiting for Your Highness to lead us in taking revenge." Han Thin turned away. "I once intended the same, but now I must rely on others' protection, and I've even been poisoned. I probably don't have long to live. Even so, are you still willing?" He had never expected that one day he would even begin to doubt his own closest personal guards. All the subordinates shouted in unison, "We swear to live and die with the heir." Hunting Smee lit. "Yin cavalry, hear my order. 18 men will split into groups to search for the antidote and gather and sort intelligence on the way. The rest specialized in investigating and clarifying the relationships between the various forces in the capital." Just then, footsteps sounded. Han Thin startled, and they gently patted his head. "Don't you think the heir has grown up? Leave the matter of the poisoning to us. Your Highness doesn't need to worry. Earlier, when we learned that Your Highness was being punished in the palace, we thought, Hantin Smee lit, I was lucky. Someone helped me." Then he asked, "Have the brothers at Prince Liang's residence secretly finished helping the craftsmen with the repairs? When can His Highness the heir return?" Hantin Froos. "Return? For now, I'm still staying at Prime Minister Thoy's residence. Don't let your actions leak out. If you need to report anything, come find me late at night. Above all, don't alarm the people of the Thoy household." The two men immediately cupped their hands. "We understand." Han Thin fell into thought. "I still have no way to tell Uni." At that moment, Uni was reviewing historical records. She sighed. "Why is there nothing here?" Where exactly can I find an antidote? Just then, Han Fin arrived. Miss, dawn is almost here. Why are you still not asleep? Uni immediately asked back. Han Fin, you can't sleep either? Is something on your mind? Han Fin turned away and said, I was bored and had nothing to do, so I went to look at the moon. Uni thought to herself, the strong scent of dew and the fragrance of sweet osmanthus. Han Fin continued, today is the Hong Fu Festival. If you don't rest well, I'm afraid Miss Thoi will have an even harder time dealing with things. Uni puffed out her cheeks. None of your business. You went out to have fun and didn't take me with you. Han Fin asked, you know everything already? Uni looked blank. What should I know? She grabbed his sleeve and dragged him away. Come here, hurry. Let's do something important before you leave. The emperor who founded Nam-Yen had once spent 10 years as a shepherd in the frozen, windswept lands of ancient Yen. He went through many hardships, and finally, one autumn day, he led his troops south to pursue the enemy. Once he reached the south, he decided to establish a state there with the national title Nam-Yen, meaning to keep the ancient Yen line alive in the south. Han Fin listened and calmly said, isn't this something even a 3-year-old would know? Uni thought of Han Fin's image and kept praising him inwardly. Not bad, not bad. Although the Mid-Autumn Festival means reunion and longing, it can also mean remembering one's ancestors. She handed an arrow to Han Fin. A martial spirit, but don't point the arrow at me. When the time comes, you can perform together with the third prince. His Highness the heir has returned from the frontier, so missing his parents is only natural. And in this matter, even if the emperor wants to refuse, he can't. Doesn't he want to pretend to be a benevolent ruler? He keeps saying he feels ashamed toward the heir's family, but in the end he directly suppressed him and sent him to the cold palace. This time, let him keep pretending. Just then, the guard beside the emperor pushed the door open and entered. I have come by imperial order. Seeing this, Uni cried out, what are you doing, suddenly opening the door like that? He explained, I thought His Highness the heir would be here at Prime Minister Thoi's residence, so I came here. Your Highness need not flee. I have come under orders only to escort your Highness back to Prince Liang's residence. After all, continuing to stay at Prime Minister Thoi's residence is somewhat inappropriate. Uni hurried after him, calling out, Lord Su, Lord Su, Lord Su, Su Hang Sai Hao Ba. If the heir stays at Prime Minister Thoi's residence, first, it won't spread outside, and second, no one will be punished. It's all been arranged so thoroughly. He lifted Uni's chin. Miss, threatening people like this isn't very good. She immediately said, that's exactly the problem. Why is no one being held accountable? Su Hang Lao Get. Uni thought to herself, what's so funny? Something this strange might very well be the key to the investigation. Anything related to the heir has to be investigated thoroughly. Sukan pinched her cheek and said with a smile, what would a little girl like you understand? This is His Highness the Crown Prince's intention. What good would it do even if I told you? Uni puffed up angrily. Who says I don't understand? On the training grounds, Han Fin and Han Trin were competing. Han Trin curled his lips, as expected of the man I chose. At that moment, Han Fin relaxed, fell silent, and turned away. Han Trin continued, are you really surnamed Han or not? Isn't it obvious? This was the Crown Prince's doing. Han Fin immediately asked, how do you know? Han Trin leaned close and said, if that person wants to know something about you, isn't it as easy as turning over his hand? But it's good that you've moved now. If one day you died in the Prime Minister's residence, how would that be explained? Han Trin draped on arm over Han Tin's shoulder. Besides, Han Fin shoved him away. Too close. Han Trin asked again, why do you think the Crown Prince did that? Han Tin pondered. Probably just because there are some things about me that displease him. Han Trin snooted. Right, but not entirely. At a time like this, shouldn't this third prince teach you a thing or two? They're doing it because of Uni. To be precise, it's so Uni can sit in the position of Crown Princess. Hearing that, Han Fin grabbed Han Trin by the collar. How old is Miss Thoi even now? They're beasts. Han Trin said, you stayed at the Thoi residence and were even caught in her boudoir at night. You seem more like the beast. Han Fin let go. I'm not that kind of person. Han Trin replied, if you're not that kind of person, then what kind are you? Then he threw an arm around Han Fin's shoulders. Come on, Let me teach you properly. Between the princess and Miss Thoy, whose status is higher? Han Fin answered, of course it's the princess. I think Uni seems a little afraid of her. Han Trin hurriedly shook his head. Wrong, completely wrong. I told you don't understand. In my opinion, Uni outranks the princess by far. As for being a suitable match, everyone knows this clearly. Uni is the prime minister's only daughter. When she grows up, she'll marry the crown prince as his principal wife. She won't just be the princess's sister-in-law. She'll also be the future empress. So why would Uni be afraid of the princess? Han Fin said, it's not that Miss Thoy is afraid of the princess. It's that Prime Minister Thoy is. He recalled what she had said. The Thoy family doesn't want Uni to enter the crown prince's residence. So that was Miss Thoy's wish. I will definitely help her escape the crown prince. After hearing that, Han Trin proudly patted his shoulder. See? Children are easy to teach. We've arrived at Prince Liang's residence, Your Highness the heir. Time to get down. Inside the study, the two subordinates exclaimed excitedly, we never expected Your Highness would come back after only half a day. This is wonderful. Hamtin Smi lit. I'm happy too. Just then, one of them rushed in, flustered. This is bad. Miss Thoy has suddenly arrived. Han Fin immediately stood up. I'll go have a look. Uni came running over, hugging a stuffed tiger. Han Fin, although His Highness didn't agree to let the heir stay at the Thoy residence. I was worried the heir wouldn't be used to being alone, so I came to stay at Prince Liang's residence for a few days. His Highness the heir won't drive me away, right? Han Fin patted her head. I won't drive you away. Then he lightly slapped his subordinate and whispered, quick, pack everything up. Hurry. The subordinate immediately went. 2 years earlier, Uni timidly hid behind her mother. Mrs. Thoy spoke up. Why did you forget to greet them? She stepped forward. Greetings, Your Highness the Princess, Your Highness the Crown Prince. This subject's daughter is Thoy Xiaoyu. Seeing this, Han Lin said, I never expected that Master Lu would finally agree to teach the eldest daughter of the Thoy family. Crown Prince brother, should I put on airs before her? Han Quan grew angry at once. I had thought Master Lu would become my grand tutor. It should have been that way. Just then, Uni let out an ah. Han Quan looked at her blankly and replied, or should I not? Uni immediately ran over to the emperor. Your Majesty, this subject's daughter has something to request. Prime Minister Thoy's expression darkened. Uni, the emperor gently patted her head. I permit you to speak. Uni then said, this subject's daughter wishes to pick 2 flowers, one for mother and one for the princess. They would look very pretty worn in their hair. The emperor smiled and agreed. Thank you, Your Majesty. Then she picked a flower and placed it in Mrs. Thoy's hair and brought another to Han Lin. Uni whispered, Mother, put it on for her. Han Lin blew hit. Why are you giving one to me? At that moment, Han Quan stepped before the emperor. Your son will also go pick one for Miss Thoy. Uni waved her hands. No need. I can't even see the flower on my own head anyway. Better to leave it in the garden for everyone to enjoy. Time returned to the day before Han Fin went back to Prince Liang's residence. I simply didn't expect things to come to this. We'll split up and act separately. First, separate Han Fin from Uni. Han Quan then went to kneel in the inner palace courtyard. The emperor asked, it is already late at night. Why is the crown prince still kneeling here? Is something the matter? He said, Father Emperor, is it true that Han Fin is staying at the Thoy residence? The emperor explained, the daughter of the Thoy family only helped the heir out of kindness. Since Prince Liang's residence is nearly repaired, Su Khan can go bring the heir back. Han Quan kowtowed after hearing this. Thank you, Father Emperor. The emperor then instructed him, in the future, you will inherit the throne. The most taboo thing of all is being too devoted in love. Not to mention that the person you've taken a fancy to is no ordinary one. Han Quan thought to himself, if the whole world will one day be mine, then why can't she be mine too? If she is a treasure, shouldn't she stay here? Next, what Prime Minister Thoy feared most was someone leading Uni astray. If Han Fin affected Uni's studies in the palace. Over at the academy, Han Lin pulled on her cloak as she walked in. She had to destroy the ceremonial offering Han Fin and the others had prepared. The bigger the mess, the better. Let the Thoy family see that Han Fin is fundamentally unfit to be Yuni's companion. Entering the storehouse, Han Lin said, "I've changed my mind. No need to look anymore. Destroy all of this." She recalled her imperial mother's words. "If you do not fight for something, how will you know whether it is yours? If I can't take first place, if I can't make Yuni see me in a new light, then I'll destroy everything." At Prince Liang's residence, Yuni suddenly woke with a start. Han Fin supported her head. "You're awake. Go back to your room and sleep." She drowsily said, "I have a bad feeling." At that moment, a subordinate came to report, "Your Highness the heir, there are some matters in the residence that need handling." Han Fin listened closely as the subordinate reported, "We have uncovered some intelligence. The grain ledger for the northern garrison has disappeared, and the person responsible for allocating and transporting the provisions is Prime Minister Doi." Han Fin immediately burned the letter. Passed down the order. "Investigate what Prime Minister Doi has been leaving the capital for so frequently lately." "Perhaps Prime Minister Doi is not even in the capital today," the subordinate said. "So Your Highness noticed long ago that there was something wrong with the Doi family?" Han Fin's face turned stern. "Not exactly. If Prime Minister Doi were at home, how could Miss Doi have dared to run outside so boldly?" The next morning at the academy, Yuni said, "Han Fin, do you hear the third prince crying? I'm not imagining it, am I?" Han Fin glanced over and answered, "It seems it's not just the third prince." The crying grew louder and louder. Han Trin came over, hugged Yuni, and wailed, "Those two beasts bullied me." Han Fin immediately shoved him away. "Let go. If you've got something to say it properly." Han Trin said, "How about we directly kill that crown prince brother and sister pair and rid the people of evil?" He pointed toward the storehouse. "Just go look for yourselves and you'll know." The two exchanged puzzled glances. Inside, the servants were in a panic. How did this happen? How are we supposed to prepare the ceremonial offering now? We spent so long making all this with so many people. Han Trin scratched his head and said, "Yuni, maybe you shouldn't look." Han Fin coldly said, "Let's go settle accounts with them." Yuni pushed the two of them aside. "Don't stop me." She looked at the pile of slashed and ruined items, and tears kept falling. "These are all things I worked so hard to make." Han Fin stroked her head to comfort her. Yuni was full of determination. "If they think this is enough to make me give up, then they're underestimating me." She immediately told everyone, stop for a moment. Let's fix it together." Hearing that, everyone asked, "Really? Miss Doi is still willing to remake this?" Yuni continued, "But before we fix it, I need to see Lord Su first. Someone has to take responsibility for this." Han Trin frovnid. "I'm not going to see that smiling tiger." Han Fin said, "Then Yuni and I will go." Juni objected, "No. Your Highness the heir stays here with the third prince and keeps practicing." Han Fin held the broken spear and answered gloomily. After that, Yuni went to see Su Kan. She hugged his leg and cried, "Lord Su, is there anyone more irresponsible than you?" Su Kan lifted her up. "Miss Doi, those are rather harsh words. You're clearly the one disrupting my official duties. If you keep chattering, I won't finish my patrol today." Yuni immediately said, "The things in the academy storehouse, the hard work of so many people, were all ruined by the crown prince and princess. Is Lord Su not going to do anything about it?" Lord Su asked in return, "How does Miss Doi know it was the crown prince and princess?" Yuni clenched her fists. Everyone checked. Only the things belonging to the crown prince and princess were untouched. They took theirs back to the crown prince's residence last night. If it wasn't them, who else could it be? Su Kan pinched her cheek. "But where is the evidence?" Yuni covered her face. "Could you pinch a little more gently?" Su Kan continued, "Without evidence, there's nothing I can do. Even if you won't help, I have my own way. But there's still something else I want to ask you." Su Kan moved to pinch her again, but she caught his hand. "What is the relationship between you and Tang Mu? Can you let me meet Tang Mu?" Su Kan asked in surprise. "How do you know Tang Mu?" Yuni felt smug. "Tang Mu used to be one of my strategy targets. Of course I know him." Tang Mu, the eldest son of the prestigious Tang family, was summoned back to the imperial capital after distinguished service defending the south, and became one of the emperor's most capable guards. Although the Tang family was an eminent clan that had fought alongside the imperial family since the founding of the nation, its reputation was not very good. with a cold gaze and blood all over his body. Tang Mu had once said, "Miss, take my letter and go find His Highness the Crown Prince. His Highness will certainly protect you." In the outside world, the Tang family was known as the Emperor's Hounds. In every generation, its descendants swore to protect their lord to the death. At that moment, Yuni shouted, "Tang Mu, you're not human. Didn't you say we would escape together?" Tang Mu simply kept walking away. Yuni kept screaming, "Tang Mu, come back here. Are your games all played with blades and swords?" Watching Tang Mu die, I'd rather die myself. Forget it. I've seen so much death already that I'm used to it. I'll just have to go see the Regent Prince again. After that, Han Quan grabbed her hand and pulled her away as guards surrounded them. "Protect the Crown Prince and the young lady." Yuni tried to run over, but Han Quan held her back. "Don't go over there." She struggled. "Let me go. Tang Mu." At that moment, Tang Mu had already been pierced through the heart by a rain of arrows. At the last meeting, he had said, "Don't make her angry." Then Han Thin shot an arrow that struck Yuni. In pain, the two of them tried to crawl toward each other. Tanmu Kropka. But their hands still could not touch. Han Thin then said, "So it wasn't the Crown Prince after all. I wasted my prey." Even as he spoke, tears fell from his eyes. Could it be that I was jealous of two dead people? Returning to reality, Su Khan said, "It seems I underestimated Miss Thoy. So Miss Thoy already knows that I am the Tang family's son-in-law and came to me demanding someone. Does Prime Minister Thoy know?" Yuni hurriedly waved her hands. "Don't go tattling nonsense. My father hates that sort of baseless talk the most. Su Heng's my. There is no Tang Mu, but I can take you to meet little Tang." Tang Xiao Tang. Yuni was stunned. Tang shouting. The purpose of this character's appearance was to unlock crafting skills. She was the Tang family's daughter, completely different from her older brother Tang Mu. She normally communicated with me by pigeon and had never gone outside. But both of them had extraordinarily exquisite craftsmanship. She recalled what had once been said. They were both children of noble families, so there was no need to stand on ceremony. Besides, Miss Thoy kept asking come visit. Why had I never thought of it? So the two of them are actually the same person. Yuni excitedly held out her hand in introduction. "Hello. I'm Igriku Nhi." Tang shouting immediately blushed. Yuni grew worried. "Don't be so nervous, sister. If you're nervous, I'll get nervous too." She took Tang Xiaodong's hand. "Right, I heard that Xiaodong is very skilled at handicrafts. Can you help me repair some things?" Tang Xiaodong waved her hands. "And no, I only know a little." Yuni immediately said, "It's okay. How will we know if you can do it if we don't try?" And as a crafting skill NPC, Brother Tang Xiaomu, you have to be more confident in yourself. Over on Han Thin's side, Han Trin said, "Good brother, shall we keep practicing now? I also have business to handle at the prince's residence." Han Trin immediately grumbled, "No way. How did this become a three-person matter? Yet I'm the only one left here." After receiving information from his subordinate, Han Thin rushed to the Tang residence. "Yuni came here?" "Yes, your highness the heir." Han Thin glanced at Tang Xiaodong and grew suspicious. This person is trained in martial arts, so why is she a woman? At that moment, Su Khan saw Han Thin and smiled. Then the subordinate said, "Your Highness, Lord Su has given a secret sign and wishes to invite you back for a talk." Su Khan blocked Han Thin's path. "Everyone in the Tang residence, from top to bottom, aside from me, is female. If your Highness does not wish to be discovered, you may enter through the back gate." How can the dignified heir be climbing over walls? This humble official has been rewarded with some tea. "Your Highness the heir, please come with me." Han Thin cut Su Khan off. "Who is that person? Who is the child accompanying Miss Thoy?" Hearing that, Su Khan stopped walking. "Does your Highness want to go after them and investigate or speak with me?" The two entered and began talking inside. Su Khan opened first. "Previously, I never had the chance to pay my respects to your Highness in private. Today is just the right time to speak plainly." As he poured tea, he said, "Your Highness, there's no need to be so tense. We both bear grudges against that exalted prince above us." Han Thin said coldly, "All I know is that Lord Tu willingly became a dog." Tu Khan kept smiling. "You can't put it that way. Die or be a dog. I could only choose the better option. Right now, your Highness is all alone, so of course it doesn't matter. But I have elders above me and children below me." "No, that's not quite right. Your Highness still has over 20 subordinates with you now. Are you planning to let all these people live here as dependents? Han Thin furiously kicked the table. One day I will take revenge and make them all pay. Tukan pushed the teacup toward Han Thin. In that matter, we can cooperate. Your Highness is still young and somewhat impulsive. The Emperor has always been suspicious by nature. You must learn to conceal your joy and anger. I will secretly lend you a hand. The poison in your Highness's body is not enough to kill you. It will only flare up from time to time and cause pain and discomfort. Consider it a gift from me to your Highness. Han Thin immediately asked, then what is your condition? Tukan smiled and said, I only need your Highness to help with one thing. Let Duong Mo and Doi Xiaoyu marry. It's that little boy you just saw. Once he grows up, he will need the protection of the Doi family. Whether he takes a wife or marries into the family, either is fine. I'm very open-minded. It doesn't matter to me. After hearing that, Han Thin crushed the teacup in his hand. Who the eldest young lady stays with in the future can only be decided by her. Tukan smiled. Is that so? Then I'll arrange the match between them first. Your Highness, don't bully Duong Mo. Now, to business. How about we find an emperor we actually like to sit on the throne? On Yuni's side. The carriage stopped in front of the Doi residence. Miss, the carriage has arrived home. Yuni yawned and climbed out. I'm going back to stay with Mother today. Send someone to inform Han Thin, or he'll worry again. The maid replied anxiously, but eldest miss, his Highness has already come. Seeing that, Yuni ran over. Han Thin, have you been taking the initiative to come see me a lot lately? Han Thin said, really? Why haven't I noticed? Is eldest miss this happy just because of that? Your Highness is skilled in both letters and arms, and you're handsome too. Of course I'm happy to see you. After all, handsome people are rare. I have to seize the chance to admire one when I can. Han Thin smiled faintly when he heard that. Where did eldest miss go this afternoon? Next time, I can go with you. Yuni waved her hand. I was running all over the streets in the east of the city, looking for skilled craftsmen. If I asked you to do it, wouldn't that be like using a golden ladle to scoop muddy pond water? At this point, the favorability still didn't increase. I've praised him this much. Even if Han Thin were made of wood and steel, a few flowers should have bloomed by now. Why is the favorability bar not moving at all? Han Thin lowered his eyes and patted her shoulder. Doi Xiaoyu, our agreement still stands. This is a mutually beneficial partnership. His expression darkened. Or have you already prepared to change allies? Yuni was startled. What's going on? Don't panic, don't panic. Didn't I just find a weapon to beat the game today? She immediately grabbed Han Thin's hand. I'm not changing. If you say that, Han Thin, I'll get angry. Han Tin froos. Angry? Clearly, the one who should be angry was him. He let go of her hand. I'm heading back first. It's getting late. Yuni was baffled. Han Thin is acting so strange today. He even deducted my favorability points. Has he been with the third prince all day and gotten deprived of attention or something? She immediately chased after Han Thin's horse. Han Thin, explain yourself first. Forget it. Calm down first. Why get angry at a paperman? 3 hours later, Duong Xiaodang examined the items and said, these won't be easy to repair. Remaking them might actually be faster. Yuni said softly, good thing I have you, Xiaodang. Otherwise, I'd still be running everywhere trying to sort out this pile of broken things. Xiaodang blushed. If it weren't for eldest Miss Thoi, I probably still wouldn't have been able to come out. Yuni took her hand. If you rarely get to come out, then you have to enjoy yourself properly. The two of them went to a shop. Iuni waiva. I want to place an order for a glass item. The proprietress waved her off. Our shop is very expensive. Children shouldn't come here to cause trouble. Yuni got angry. At least hear me out first. Let me tell you, all the craftsmen in your shop have already been bought out by the Doi residents. Name your price. Yuni thought to herself, this world feels so real. Sometimes it even makes me forget I'm inside a game. I'm about to forget that no matter how real the people and scenery feel, in the end, it's all just a string of data. If I can't solve the puzzles in the game, then I won't be able to find the antidote to save Han Thin. Why can't I start with the game itself? Just then, the proprietress brought over pastries and said sweetly, "It's all my fault. I failed to recognize that you were eldest Miss Thoy. These are freshly made osmanthus cakes and top-grade bitch hoa shinti. Please allow me to make amends." "Miss Duong, Miss Thoy, please have a taste." As Duong shouting ate, she asked, "Are you really buying this whole shop? It's very expensive. Didn't eldest Miss only need a few things repaired?" Yuni replied, "It's not often I get to come out and spend money, so that's normal. The most important thing is to verify whether my guess is correct." Yuni said to the proprietress, "I want the most skilled craftsman you have. Have him come here at once." Yuni thought gloomily. Normally, when clearing a game, there are only 3 possible paths. Then I can only bite the bullet and take the third one. At that moment, the proprietress brought someone over. "The craftsman has arrived." The man cupped his hands. "Greetings, eldest Mississippi." Yuni flipped open the book. "To get the antidote to save Han Thin, if I take a gamble, maybe a new opportunity will appear. I want to make this. I hope it can be made from glass fired at high temperature. Let's see." The specific manufacturing standards and process are. At that moment, all 3 of them stared blankly. And Yuni looked smug. "Can't understand it, right? That's normal if you can't." "Master, look," then she shouted. "Hey, don't shake it." The 3 stared at Yuni blankly. At that moment, Duong Xiaodang said, "I see." The other 2 followed suit. "I see." Only then did Yuni come back to herself. "Though it's a bit rough, it seems it can still be used." The craftsman said, "Don't worry. Leave this kind of handiwork to me, and it will absolutely be done. I'll deliver it to you within the agreed time." In the academy, Han Trin threw a paper note over, but Han Thin caught it. Then he threw another one toward Yuni, and Han Thin threw it back again. Yuni thought, how childish. Then she opened the note and read it. "Are you 2 arguing?" Yuni thought to herself, if we were arguing, that would be better. Ever since Han Thin came back alone that day, he's been acting strange. I've tried so hard to please him, but it's useless. His Highness's heart is truly impossible to fathom. As expected of the male lead in a palace power struggle. Could it be that your real name is Hanyo Luhan Thin? At that moment, Han Thin turned to look at her. "There's only 1 cup of tea left before class ends. Eldest Miss, endure it a little longer. Iu ni fumet fina ham tin." "So now you're mocking me for not being able to sit still, is that it?" Han Trin said. "So you really are fighting? Don't the 2 of you understand what working together with one heart means?" At that moment, the gong sounded. Everyone ran in from outside. "Eldest Miss Thoy! Eldest Miss Thoy!" They said joyfully. "Many thanks, eldest Mississippi. Last night, we received the repaired ceremonial items. We never expected you really could do it." That's right, that's right. Now we don't need to worry anymore. We really must thank eldest Miss properly. The mid-autumn banquet is only a few days away. I didn't expect it would be finished in time." Yuni smiled and replied, "It wasn't my merit alone. Fortunately, Miss Duong is skilled in this sort of thing. Otherwise, how could it have gone so smoothly?" Everyone continued, "We will repay today's kindness to eldest Miss Thoy, and Miss Duong too, if there is ever a chance in the future." Yuni said, all right. Han Trin, sitting to one side, coughed lightly. "Everyone, wait a moment. I know our Yuni is impressive, but we still have to think of a way to deal with the Crown Prince and his sister. This frustration in my heart." Everyone turned back in confusion. "Why are you sitting there? What does this have to do with the 3rd prince?" At that moment, the chair tipped over and Han Trin fell down. Han Thin turned away gloomily. "There are matters at my residence. I'll go back first." Yuni immediately called after him, "Han Thin." Everyone said, "Eldest Miss should still have less contact with His Highness. People who come back from the battlefield are very frightening." That's right. Yuni immediately explained. "How could that be? His Highness is clearly warm and patient." Hearing that, Han Thin turned back. "Toi Xiao." Seeing that, she shouted, "Why yes, I'm here." Han Thin continued, "You must not lie to me." Yuni screamed inwardly. Isn't he just a paper man? He's overthinking things and still won't tell me anything. I keep saying he's just a paper man, but I still can't help feeling sad and angry. Han Thin has gone too far. Over at the Crown Prince's residence, the servants came out while cleaning up the pile of broken things. The 2 of them argued again. "Stop talking. Be careful or disaster will fall on us in a moment." Inside, Han Jun shouted angrily, "Han Lin, let go of me." Han Lin cried out, "No, Mother is like this, and you're like this too. In the end, all you want is for me to take the blame. But I did nothing wrong. And you did nothing wrong? I told you to make trouble for Han Thin. Just do a little something, and yet you ruined so many people's belongings. Do you think a princess can simply do whatever she wants? Right now, everyone at the academy is angry, and it's all because of you. Han Lin said through tears, Brother, are you just like mother, sacrificing the carriage to protect the general? Do you really not want Linger anymore? It's only 3 days until mid-autumn. Stop overthinking. No one would abandon their own family on a festive day. Yuni took a bite of pastry and nearly choked. Han Trin handed her a cup of water. What are you worrying about? I'm not even worried. The banquet won't start for a while yet. Yuni immediately replied, Can you compare yourself to me? Forget it. Why bother arguing with someone simple-minded? Han Trin sprang to his feet. What do you mean simple-minded? I, the third prince, conduct myself uprightly, understand? Then he sighed and sat back down. Though what we're worried about is different, the feeling of worry is the same. Doi Xiao Yu, I'm confiding in you here, and you ungrateful thing. Yuni looked at him and suddenly thought the feeling of worry. Han Thin asked in return, Why are you looking at me like that? Yuni said, I just think you're right. Han Trin looked confessed. Yuni, full of determination, continued. After the banquet ends, I will definitely make peace with Han Thin. Han Trin was stunned when he heard that. You two still haven't made up? On Han Thin's side, he was observing the emperor. At that moment, Tukon looked up and gave a slight nod. The two understood each other at once, and Han Thin nodded back. He recalled what Tukon had said. How about finding someone we both like to sit on the throne? What does your highness think the emperor's power truly looks like? Han Thin replied, Under the whole heaven, is there any land that is not the king's land? Within the borders of the land, is there anyone who is not the king's subject? Tukon continued, But he cannot possibly inspect every frontier in time. No matter how fierce a beast is, once it is locked in a cage, it is restricted everywhere. This capital is the cage of the old emperor. Yet in the capital, there are too many of his favorite officials. To control the nobles of the whole realm, they still listen to the emperor. Tukon clapped his hands. A pity no wall can block the wind. There will always be people who hate the emperor, just as you and I do. You say the emperor is the culprit, even if he did not personally take action. You say he is not, but he hides his intentions deeply, allows the masterminds to do harm, and still puts on a false show of peace. That makes him even more hateful. Han Thin asked, Then what support does Lord Tu have? Tukon smiled. All of Nanjiang. My nominal nephew, Duong Mo, is currently in Nanjiang. 3 months ago, he fell from his horse and suffered severe injuries. He is not yet recovered. Han Thin replied, but clearly he is currently. Tukon took out a scroll. But the emperor can only rely on letters to know the situation. Next month, Duong Mo will wake up. Everything has already been written in advance. Han Thin thought to himself, this kind of scroll is specifically used to transmit information to the emperor. Returning to the present, Han Thin came before the emperor. Greetings, your majesty. The emperor said, Perfect timing. This is the heir of Yong'an from Nanyan. In the future, he will frequently associate with the various states of Nanjiang. During the mid-autumn banquet, envoys from the states of Nanjiang will also enter the palace. Even if there is cooperation with Duong Mo, one still cannot trust it completely. At that moment, a group entered. Greetings, your highness. Hamtin smiled faintly. Then when the time comes, I hope the various states will offer much support. I still need to go over to the ceremonial display, so I will take my leave first. At the hour of you, the ceremonial performance began. The three of them had already changed into their costumes and stepped out. Han Trin was excited. I've kept this a secret from Mother the whole time. After practicing for so many days, I'll definitely give her a surprise. Yuni immediately called Han Thin. Han Thin thought to himself, even though my attitude was bad before, she still wants to talk to me? Yuni said, after the banquet ends, I have something I want to tell you. Han Thin replied, all right, then let's begin. The curtain was drawn aside, and the three of them walked in. After watching, the people below began discussing among themselves. What piece is this? It's the marching tune. With His Highness dressed like this, he really looks like the founding General Chenglong going out to expand the territory. As Han Trin performed, he thought to himself, perfect. Starting tomorrow, I'll be the most handsome legend in the capital. At that moment, his mother stared in shock. Why is my imperial son together with Han Thin? The maid beside her anxiously cried, Your Majesty, the Empress has fainted. The Emperor's face darkened. Then another curtain was drawn aside, and everyone was astonished. What is that? It looks like glass. How can there be such a huge piece of glass in this world? It's so beautiful. As Yuni played the zither, she smugly thought, looks like it's working fine. Next, Emperor, please receive the blow. In the 23rd year of Chongping, the eldest daughter of the Doi family created an object like colored glaze, and her fame spread throughout the capital. Some said that seeing these things was like wandering through the realm of immortals. A tired close minister made the announcement. Since Northern Yin established its capital in the south, although there has been peace and stability, it has also lost the martial spirit with which the late emperor once conquered in all directions. The eldest young lady has done very well. Prime Minister Doi said sternly, I only hope everything can remain well forever. At that moment, Han Thin, Han Trin, and Yuni finished their splendid performance. All three bowed in thanks to the audience, and everyone praised their performance as excellent. The emperor happily rose to his feet. I didn't expect children so young to be such talents. Yuni smiled and asked, Then, Your Majesty, are we first place? The emperor said coldly, Are you hoping that I will reward you, or are you threatening me? Han Thin slowly stepped forward. Of course we are hoping for Your Majesty's reward. All under heaven belongs to Your Majesty. Yuni looked up at Han Thin. Han Thin curled his lips. We subjects can naturally only depend on Your Majesty. On one side, Han Lin looked dejected. It's so lively over there. Crown Prince brother, what should we do now? Han Jun stood up and dusted off his robe. It's time to go, Linner. Han Jun lightly took Han Lin's hand and left. In the end, sincerity still works better. Why don't you think about how to please Father Emperor in a moment? At that moment, the Emperor lightly touched the golden-colored zither. Whether this is first place or not depends on where little Yuni says this came from. Yuni answered brightly, Your Majesty, I had people think of a way to make it. The crowd stepped closer and began whispering. Where did such a huge piece of glass come from to be polished? This doesn't seem to be glass either. Yuni immediately said, It isn't glass. This is crystal. If Your Majesty wants it, in the future there can be many more crystal items. Lamps, teacups, windows. Then this time, is Your Majesty willing to give little you first place? A young lord stepped forward and said, I never thought Nan Yin would have such a thing. I'm afraid many states will present tribute to Nan Yin just to obtain it. Lunin then said, I think all of you are truly amateurs. The real treasure is... Yuni was bewildered. Even this still doesn't move him? Is His Majesty planning to make me work for nothing later? That's too much. The Emperor gently stroked Yuni's head and said, I still have to see the final performance. It seems to be the heir and Linner. The two who are appearing are precisely their highnesses. Han Lin appeared and said, Father Emperor, Linner knows that you are occupied day after day with the affairs of the realm. With this to keep you company, Linner can feel at ease too. She let the little bird fly to the heir's shoulder, and he showed off his whistling skill. Quick, quick, open the cage. Could this be 100 birds paying homage to the phoenix? The Emperor thought uneasily, not to mention whether Han Thin harbors rebellious intentions. Even the Crown Prince is unwilling to remain peaceful. So this is 100 birds paying homage to the phoenix. Could he have already planned to replace me? The Crown Prince is only 15 years old. Yuni said excitedly, Quick, quick, Lord 2. Lift me a little. I want to see what Han Thin and the others are doing. Suddenly someone came close and lifted her up. Yuni looked up intently. 100 birds paying homage to the phoenix? Can I still win against this? He smiled. You can, because the Emperor's heart is the hardest obstacle of all to overcome. Besides, the closer you get, the more dangerous it becomes. Linnea was startled. Wait, Lord 2, why are you standing beside me? Then behind me. She turned her head to look. Han Thin, we've finally made up. Put me down. I still have something I want to say to you. The emperor said softly. Then the first place of tonight's mid-autumn gathering goes to the three of you. The third prince, His Highness Han Fin, and eldest Miss Thoy. The man rubbed Eunice's head. Well, eldest Miss Thoy, you're not worried this time anymore, are you? I came to find you because I'm waiting to take you to the imperial treasury. You gave me a quince. I returned to you a beautiful jade. Xiao Dang likes jade ornaments very much. Remember to choose one and give it to her. So you just want to trick me into taking the reward. Han Fin said worriedly. The empress suddenly fainted. The third prince already went over there. I'm going to find him. Uni looked dejected. What's wrong now? Forget it. Let's hurry to the treasury and look for an antidote instead. As long as we can cure the poison, there will definitely be plenty of chances to make up with Han Fin. Uni obediently followed behind him. We should go collect the reward first. Lord Tu, you're so familiar with the situation in the palace. Is there anything in the imperial treasury that can cure poison? Lord Tu said softly. What do you need an antidote for? Could it be that the heir apparent still hasn't told you? She sighed. Told me what? Han Xiaosheng has barely spoken a few words to me all week. Uni stepped inside. Jewels, gold, and silver filled the place. Lord Tu followed in after her and said, These are all imperial treasures. Eldest Miss may choose whatever she likes. It's just, there doesn't seem to be anything here that can cure poison. As Uni walked, she glanced around nervously, her eyes full of worry. Han Trin, already exhausted, spoke with concealed irritation. Uni, are your eyes dazzled by everything yet? There's been enough time to circle the whole warehouse several times. Why haven't you picked anything? I'm the only one worrying about Mother Empress's illness, and now I have to worry about Uni too. Lord Tu suddenly appeared and said, Almost done. If the third prince can't wait any longer, he may return first. Han Trin broke out in a cold sweat. I think this is quite good. Then he saw Uni pushing the door open and walking out with her head lowered. There, isn't she out now? Uni kept her head down, miserable and heartbroken, tears falling to the ground. I really tried, but I still couldn't find an antidote. At the same time, on Han Fin's side, a close attendant ran over to report, Your Highness, our people have found out about Prime Minister Thoy. Han Fin said as he walked, Have everyone wait for me in the study. I'll leave the palace and return as quickly as possible. He recalled Uni once saying, After the banquet ends, I have something I want to tell you. He had answered, Everything else can wait until later. Han Fin arrived at the study, sat down, and saw the report, his sharp eyes darkening as he read it. The attendant stepped forward and reported, As expected, Prime Minister Thoy wanted to make it back before mid-autumn, so your subordinate investigated what he was doing. The Thoy family is wealthy and numerous. 100 li north of the capital, they have an estate and hundreds of acres of farmland. This time, Prime Minister Thoy personally went to collect a large sum of money. It just so happens to match the military provisions still owed to the northern frontier. Han Fin read the report in anger, then calmly set it down. How much do you think Prime Minister Thoy is involved in what happened at the northern border? Han Fin burned the paper at once. A great deal, without question. Back then, the one in charge of grain dispatch was also Prime Minister Thoy. But when the border was being defended, not a single reinforcement appeared. In the middle of speaking, he suddenly coughed up blood. He hurriedly covered his mouth. Everyone panicked. Your Highness. When he pulled his hand away, his palm was covered in blood. Everyone started talking at once. The poison in His Highness the heir apparent's body shouldn't be fatal, but hurry and summon a physician. In his daze, Han Fin suddenly opened his eyes, looking shocked. He dreamed that his father and mother were deeply in love. He hurriedly ran after them, calling out, Father, Mother, wait for me. Suddenly, someone embraced him from behind. Han Fin stopped and said, How did you find me? Uni leaned against him affectionately. How are you feeling now? Han Fin, are you hungry? Do you want some pastries? Han Fin coldly seized Uni's hand, then turned to her angrily. So you've been watching me all along? Uni answered excitedly. That's right. I've been watching you. Han Fin moved his face close to Uni's. So you're the one Prime Minister Thoy sent to keep me under watch? Were you afraid I'd find out the truth? She looked delighted. I was only worried about you. Back in reality, Uni was walking with Han Trin. She lowered her head sadly, and Han Trin comforted her. Don't cry anymore. Isn't there always a way when the cart reaches the mountain? Uni suddenly burst into tears. Mine already overturned halfway up the mountain. He stared blankly as he opened a box, and a glow shone from inside. Hey, I originally prepared this as a gift from Mother Empress, but I'll give it to you instead. Pretty gallant of me, right? She touched it and asked, "What is this? A giant marble?" He replied, "You've never seen one before, have you? This is real crystal. With how sparkling and dazzling it is, there's probably only one in the world. I heard it has to be polished every single day for 10 years before it becomes this smooth and glossy. So stop crying, all right?" Uni took it happily. "Thank you. You're really." She thought to herself, "I've come up with another way." When the auspicious hour for presenting tributes ended, a young lord stepped forward. "Many thanks to the ruler of Nam, Yin, for inviting us to today's banquet. I'm deeply grateful." Lunam spoke cheerfully. Speaking of that, the various tribes of the southern riverlands have been fighting recently. In a few days, they will be unified into one state. At that time, they will certainly be loyal to Nam Yin, and the tribute they present will be greater than before. The emperor said coldly, "Is that so? Very good. But if there are any rebellious intentions, Nam Yin will immediately send troops." The two men forced a laugh. The young lord said awkwardly, "How could that be? How could ants shake an elephant? I shall take my leave first." The people behind him added, "Farewell, your majesty." After everyone left, the emperor asked Prime Minister Doi, "How much tribute did they bring this time?" He bowed and answered, "Reporting to your majesty, 10,000 taels of gold, 10 elephants, and 10 peacocks as well." The emperor frowned. "Something must have happened that I don't know about. If the disputes, they're truly endless, then how could such a tiny southern power have so much tribute and bring it safely all the way to the capital at that?" Meanwhile, the young lord and Lunam returned and discussed what had just happened. He said, "Didn't we already make an agreement with a foreign tribe?" Lunam sat calmly and said, "I didn't violate the agreement. The agreement was to obey the intelligence arrangement and divide the southern riverlands. Whether the emperor notices the problem or not depends on how sharp he is." He recalled Uni. "That girl who made the crystal today is the prime minister's daughter. Did you notice how the emperor and the prime minister are completely of one mind? If we ally with the foreign tribes, the benefits are small and the risks are great." Lunam's eyes filled with killing intent. "Why don't we just take both sides in one bite? Besides, we still don't know who among them harbors treacherous intentions. No matter how bad the emperor is now, he is still the ruler of a country. That is an undeniable fact." The young lord said worriedly, "That's too dangerous. If the emperor finds out he's been played, he might directly raise the frontier." Lunam looked up at the sky and said with ease, "Then I'll just wait for the next ruler of the southern border to rebel. It's just a gamble. At worst, we die and start over in the next life." The young lord sighed helplessly. "I'm not like you." Lunam said, "Spare this tiny life of mine, will you? I'm about to be scared to death." Lunam excitedly covered his ears. "I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything." That night, Uni ran off with a cloak wrapped around herself. A maid chased after her from behind, calling, "Miss, wait for me." Holding the spirit pill in her hand, she worried, "Han Thin has fallen ill again. I can't delay any longer." She hurried to Han Thin's bedchamber. Suddenly, the malfunctioning system dragged her back into the future. A voice sounded, "Salted fish, you really like playing games that much?" The girl cheerfully replied, "That's right, because games are fun. Don't you think they're amazing? Even a tiny crystal can be made up of hundreds of thousands of facets. And not only that, sometimes players can even put their own models into the game world. Don't you think that a miracle for the world of gaming?" Back in ancient times, Uni pushed open the door anxiously. "Where's the medicine?" Han Thin heard her voice and signaled to his close attendant. The man hesitated before saying, "In the kitchen." Han Thin asked tiredly, "Has she gone?" The attendant replied, "Yes. Should we stop her?" Han Thin said after a pause, "No need." Uni snapped angrily. "This concerns the Regent Prince's safety. Give me the medicine now." She carried the bowl of medicine to a corner. The attendant worried aloud, "But that thing looks even more dangerous." Uni held the spirit pill and took a deep breath. Words appeared before her eyes. Scan complete. This model contains 1,420 coded facets. Preparing project modification. Uni turned serious. Now I know that a string of data can absolutely affect this world. It's like a virus code. As long as it appears whenever Han Thin's illness command is triggered, it can interrupt that command and stop the episode. At last, she made up her mind. All right, though this really doesn't seem safe. Warning, please stop this dangerous operation immediately. After finishing with the medicine bowl, Eunice said anxiously, please move aside. I'm in a hurry. She suddenly stopped at the door. Words appeared again. Countdown. 59 seconds remaining. Violation detected. Please upload your behavioral data immediately and await judgment. Otherwise, punishment will be imposed. Eunice thought for a moment, then forced her way through. She ran to the bedside anxiously. Han Fin, drink the medicine. He looked at it and thought. She said softly, is it because it's too bitter? I'll go find you some candy afterward, all right? Han Fin glanced at the servant, who subtly shook his head. Even though something had been added to the medicine, he still took the bowl and drank it. She beamed. Now I can finally relax. Han Fin suddenly hurled the bowl to the ground. At the same time, Eunice's bracelet fell as well. She froze in fear. He said furiously, I always trusted you, Eunice. Why did you lie to me? At the palace during the auspicious hour, the emperor asked a maid, how is the empress? The maid reported, Your Majesty, Her Highness has just awakened and is taking her medicine. A moment ago, the third prince escorted Miss Chien. The emperor said softly, all right. In the empress's chambers, she weakly called out, bring the medicine here. Suddenly, a hand appeared and offered the medicine to her. A gentle voice said, Mang, I happened to be passing by, so I brought your medicine. The empress took the bowl, and when she heard the voice, she was startled. The emperor stood before her and said, I know that my Mang is a noble young lady. I also know that you've always done many things for me, and I have seen it all. The empress was frightened. Your servant consort. The emperor continued, there's no problem with the medicine either, right? He gently placed a hand on her shoulder to comfort her. Lately, my illness has grown more serious. Mang, prepare a little less medicine for me. Otherwise, when the autumn air turns cold, you and I will both end up with freezing hands and sleepless nights again. She answered uncertainly, yes, I will prepare it right away. The emperor smiled with quiet satisfaction. And while you're at it, let's see just what kind of ghost is hiding in the capital, stirring up trouble. Elsewhere, the noble consort angrily smashed a plate of fruit onto the floor. I spent so much money and effort, and now the two of you are telling me you lost her? Tonight, both of you will kneel in the study for me. Han Quan went to the study and knelt there, book in hand as he read. His attendant quickly said, Your Highness, her ladyship isn't here right now. You should take the chance to rest a little. It's autumn tonight. It's definitely going to be cold. The crown prince replied, This crown prince has been weak and sickly since childhood. Even if I fall ill again, it won't matter much. It's just Linner, the attendant said. As for the princess, Your Majesty heard that she made enemies among the noble children. So tonight, she has been transferred to the lower palace. Han Quan lost focus the moment he heard that. The attendant accompanying Han Lin said, Princess, please get in the carriage. You may not be tired from walking, but we servants are exhausted from driving it. Han Lin snapped angrily. I said, wait. So wait. If Eunice doesn't come tonight, then I won't go to the lower palace either. A maid came forward to report, but Eunice seemed to have urgent business and ran to Prince Liang's residence. I heard she was delivering something. Han Lin irritably turned her back inside the carriage. Didn't I tell you to go? Why aren't you moving already? Then she sat in the carriage and cried sadly. The attendant hurriedly answered, Yes, we're setting off at once. Han Lin cried until her eyes were swollen. Eunice, brother, the third prince, Han Fin, any of them, as long as they carry that family's blood, must all be mad. Don't tell me you think Han Fin is a good person. So what if I was abandoned? I definitely won't regret it. I am the only princess of Nam-Yen. I will definitely come back. At Han Fin's residence, people outside were in an uproar. What happened? Why aren't we being allowed into the inner courtyard? Han Fin pinned her against the wall, and Eunice cried out in pain. Han Fin asked her, right now, if you just admit that you're the one who deceived me, I'll let you go. I'll let you escape. She replied fearfully, Escape? Why would I run? When did I ever deceive you? Han Fin said angrily, You still refuse to tell the truth? Did Prime Minister Doi embezzle the military grain? Did Tu Qingji also plead on the Doi family's behalf? All of you knew I was poisoned, didn't you? Have all of you been toying with me from the beginning? Cooperation? What do I even have left for you to profit from? Why would you work with me? This is the capital, not the battlefield. These hands of mine, this heart of mine, they're no match for people like you. I admit defeat. Uni cried out in anguish, Han Thin. He stood up and said solemnly, I'm the son of Prince Liang, loyal and brave all my life. Yet in the end, I still submitted to Uni's arrangements. So what did you put into my body? Will I even live to see tomorrow morning? Uni said softly, this time, I can't explain it to you. But believe me, the medicine can cure your poison. I would never harm you. Uni lowered her eyes, sadly. I'm sorry. Suddenly, the system issued an alert. Abnormal error detected. Repair program restarting. Preparing player reset. Restarting. Please do not log out to ensure safety. Uni said anxiously, Han Thin, you won't die. But this may be the last time we ever meet. This time I really did give all my luck to you, so take good care of it. And don't let anyone bully you like when I first met you, because this time I won't be able to save you. Han Thin asked anxiously, Uni, what do you mean by that? Uni said in quiet satisfaction, good night, Han Thin. A line of red game system text appeared, boot sequence initiated. That night in Nam Yen, a young man on horseback sped toward the capital. He held up a token and shouted, by order, open the gates at once. He charged into the capital. Two soldiers began whispering, what in the world is going on? Don't tell me something happened. Lord Tu stood above, seeing everything. His attendant asked nervously, my lord, what should we do next? Lord Tu sighed. Proceed according to the original plan. Be careful inside the palace. That direction is straight toward Prince Liang's residence. I have to go see what happened. Once everything is over, come find me. Lord Tu got into the carriage, looking worried. The most frightening thing is when events develop beyond calculation. It was hard enough to find the ideal partner. We absolutely must keep the heir of Yeoman alive. Lord Tu pulled the reins and stopped before him. The man turned to look. So it's Lord Tuesday. You really dared come. We are acting on orders to deliver medicine to Prince Liang's residence. The soldiers all surrounded Lord Tu. Their swords were drawn. Lord Tu said softly, poison more like. He jumped down from the carriage, a murderous smile on his face. Since I've already fallen under suspicion, then there really aren't many paths left for a kind-hearted man to choose. He prepared to draw his sword. But no one can stop me from choosing what I want. The fight broke out. As Lord Tu charged in, he thought to himself, sometimes, even when you clearly know it's a trap, you still have no choice but to step into it. Outside the capital, a man brought a child over. Su Heir and his wife died on the southern battlefield. Only this child is left. Better to let the Tang family raise him. When he grows up, he can serve as a substitute for the eldest young master. Father and mother are both gone. What home do I still have? Then let's call him Tu Kaji. He can enter the Tang household, play and study there. Kaji thought, at least I have a name now. I won't have to run and hide everywhere anymore. Tomorrow will surely be brighter. Tang Xingyu held a steamed bun out in front of him. She happily handed him a bun. Tu Kaji took it and ate with gusto. Why is it buns again? Xingyu sat beside him and explained, buns are delicious. Thin skin, lots of filling, and most importantly, they keep you full for a long time. Just look at you, you're so skinny. You need to eat more and make up for all the hardship from before. Kaji said gloomily, my build is far too different from that of the eldest young master. I know. Tang Xingyu excitedly patted him on the back. I'm just like you the moment I saw you. That's why I gave you food. You're so skinny and short. How could you possibly stand in for my brother? Maybe in a few years. Kaji shyly lowered his head with the bun in his hand. He thought it was so hard just to grow up. But the two who once sat under that tree together had now become adults. Tu Kaji said anxiously, eldest miss, don't joke with me. Xingyu gently rubbed her belly and said softly, Gigi, I'm pregnant. I've even chosen the name already. Danmu. If it's a girl, that would be nice. A boy born into the Tang family suffers too much. He stared at her in shock. Whose child is it? She took his hand and put on a helpless look. Gigi, I've always thought of you as my younger brother. Help me. You must protect this child and let it grow up safely. But from that day on, things only grew harder and harder. First, Prince Liang, who had been destined to inherit the throne, suddenly went to the northern frontier and never returned. The younger brother who had always envied Prince Liang became the new emperor. People like the Tang family, who had once been close to Prince Liang, had no choice but to be cautious. After some time, Tang Xingyu met with her younger brother. Once I win, I'll move to the villa. After some time, everything will settle down. Kaji stood there sadly and said nothing. A young lord behind Kaji poked his face out and said, "That's right, Brother Tuesday. Big brother and I will secretly escort sister over there. Nothing will happen. I always believed tomorrow would be brighter." Kaji ran through the rain in fear and panic. He rushed there, but by the time I arrived, aside from eldest Miss Tang, everyone else was dead. Tang Xingyu muttered deliriously, "My elder brother and younger sister are both dead. My child, perhaps even my child, can't be saved now." Kaji said in terror, "Tang Xingyu, didn't I tell you? I would definitely protect everyone." On Lord Tu's side, he fought desperately against the soldiers. Gravely wounded, Lord Tu collapsed to the ground. His attendant shouted, "Found him! Lord Tu is here." In a weak voice, he shouted, "Stay back. Don't come near. It'll leave traces. Don't save me anymore. If I die, perhaps the Emperor will understand even less. Once Xiao Tang sees it, she'll know what to do from now on. At last, I won't have to go on barely living anymore." In the end, Lord Tu closed his eyes in happiness at his final moment. Back at the manor, Han Thin was frightened. "Enough. Yuni, stop lying to me. Do you really think the same trick would fool me the way it fooled the princess?" Han Thin said in pain, "It's happening again. Strange. It doesn't seem to be fully acting up." Han Thin worriedly said, "Wake up. Weren't you going to explain things to me? Stop pretending to be unconscious. Hurry and get a doctor. Hurry." The chaotic game system turned Yuni into an adult, and Yuni stared blankly. Although she was grateful the system had mercifully refrained from directly erasing her. Where exactly was she now? Ancient romance game system. Keep the Lord in line, with a total of 5 main male leads and 20 main routes. Spanning 7 million characters of story and 800 divergence points, the Empress was placing a flower in her daughter's hair. She said, "Yuni has grown up. It's time for you to go find your own happiness." The beautiful Yuni turned and smiled at the Empress. The game system began introducing the characters. Grand Tutor Lu Xianghe. Between us, there's still much. Next one, relaxed style, excellent immersive experience, hypothetical 30-kilometer world building, based on historical references, with a fully constructed fictional capital. Crown Prince Han Quan. As for you and me, it would be best if we could take things lightly. Next, third Prince Han Qin. If I said that you and I were the most compatible. Imperial Gartang Mu held a cat. If only time could stay in this very moment. A man with murder written all over his face. A foreign guest, Lanwen, didn't expect to meet me here, did you? Wait, were you deliberately luring me here? It was you who made me trust you. Now I brought everything for you. Yuni was furious. What the hell? Yuni thought back when I entered the game, the timing was already wrong. If the game didn't start at the coming-of-age ceremony, then isn't this still wrong? Yuni pressed a button that appeared on the system screen and stared in shock. No, system, stop playing dead. Help! Yuni wandered around and suddenly bumped into something. As she winced in pain, she realized. An air wall. There were 3 on all sides, with only one way out. Ridiculous. The system never said there'd be this many invisible walls. Passers-by walked by and whispered among themselves, thinking she looked insane. "Is that young lady all right?" A young man strode over and shouted, "You still dare run?" She turned to look at him blankly. He was tall and burly as he approached. "I'm talking to you. Your parents took our money, which means you were sold to us. You talk big. Then show me the proof. Be careful, or I'll report you to the authorities." He answered without hesitation. "Proof? The clothes you're wearing are proof." Yuni looked down at her clothes in shock. "Damn, this can't be real. Don't tell me I'm not the eldest miss anymore." Yuni forced a smug look. "Then take me there and let me see." He dragged her away. Yuni stared blankly as she passed through the invisible wall. While walking, he said, "Why wouldn't I be able to? I'm not some shady trafficker. Why can't I walk the main streets of the capital?" Yuni thought, is this game targeting me on purpose? At the ferry by the canal in Shangjing, Yuni panicked. "Hero, spare my life." He turned and said, "If I spare you, who's going to spare me?" Yuni stepped into the flower boat. Everyone gathered around and praised her. "Big sister is so beautiful. Hurry and try this flute." I heard it's top quality. Uni said uncertainly, but I don't know music, zither, or flute. I only know that kind. The young women whispered among themselves. They really found the wrong person. A young woman walked over and said, "Big sister, just try first. If you can't satisfy that person, your head will be cut off. No matter what, living a little longer is better, right?" Uni turned pale with fright. That person? Don't tell me it's the Regent Prince? Teen. Maybe he's not even in the same world as me anymore. Hopefully the next one will be easier. Since it's a long tube, as long as you control the length while producing sound, you can control the volume too. So for now, I just need to blow into it, right? A young woman happily announced. Then let's begin. We'll line up and practice. Everyone started rehearsing enthusiastically. Suddenly, Uni screamed, "This is bad. I really can't do it. Jump ship, jump ship." Everyone panicked. "Quick, hold her. It's too high. She'll die." Uni tripped and fell. Everyone tried to pull her back, but they were too late. In the end, Thin saved her. Uni thought fearfully, other people will transmigrate and become some noble lady with a dazzling identity. But what about me? I transmigrated and don't even know who I am. What era am I even in? Thin landed safely on the ground. The people around them erupted in noise. "Quick, seize them. Iuni Stefisa. What should I do next?" My original target was the Regent Prince, but now I can't even access the system to see where I am or what I'm supposed to do. Forget it. The most important thing right now is, Uni snapped, "Who are you?" Thin coldly replied, "No one." Uni shouted angrily, "If we don't know each other, then put me down. Or are you the one trying to abduct people?" Thin carried her away. The man from before shouted furiously, "Someone dares steal my woman?" A young master appeared. "Is this week's quota enough?" He said arrogantly, "If the people from the lower palace ask around after she's gone, just say the one who took her away was..." At that moment, Thin carried her off the boat. She was angry. He held her and whispered, "The heir of Yongin." At the back gate of the Thoy residence, Uni exclaimed in surprise, "That's the Thoy residence." Thin said coldly, "We're here." A servant joyfully ran over, calling, "Miss." Thin set her down. A maid ran over, hugged her leg, and burst into tears. "Eldest miss, you nearly scared me to death." Uni replied, "I'm no different from you. I was scared half to death too. Luckily, I'm still Miss Thoy." Uni turned aside with a sulky expression. "You dislike me that much? If you hate me so much, then why did you bring me back?" She then turned, suddenly cheerful. "Thank you for saving me." Thin left, but did not forget to remind her, "Go out less. It's dangerous." How rude. If I don't go out, am I supposed to howl around the house all day? Who are you to force your weird rules on me? The maid ran over and hugged her from behind. "Miss, let's go back. Don't chase after him. Your condition has gotten worse again, hasn't it?" Back at her room, Uni cried out, "Since when was I sick?" "He's the sick one." Uni had been seriously frightened. The physician came out and said, "It's only a sprain. She just needs more medicine applied." The maid lowered her head and softly said, "Thank you, doctor." Uni recalled Thin saving her and thought, "So that's when I sprained it. No wonder he carried me. But who exactly is he?" The maid sighed. "Please don't ask anymore. Every time you ask, you become unhappy." Uni looked surprised. "Unhappy? But what does that have to do with why I'd be unhappy? If I was really that angry, why does he still care about me? Or does he owe me something?" The maid said helplessly, "It really does seem like he owes you. Ever since you fainted at Prince Liang's residence, every time anyone mentions him, you get angry." Uni worriedly asked, "Was that after the mid-autumn banquet?" The maid froze. Uni said irritably, "Exactly. Just hearing you say it already makes me mad." Teen, is this really how you welcome me back after I survived a disaster? At Thin's private residence, on a full moon night, he sat drinking with a wine flask in hand, his heart full of things he wanted to pour out. His attendant respectfully reported, "Your Highness, the commotion caused by your search for eldest Miss Thoy today was no small matter. I fear the Prime Minister already knows." Han Fin said worriedly. I promised I would protect her. As long as she needs me, I will definitely appear. The attendant continued. Then what should be done next? In a little over 2 months, eldest Miss Thoy will come of age. After that comes choosing a husband in marriage. If your highness continues following her around then, won't chaos break out? Han Fin said softly. We'll talk about it when the time comes. 5 years earlier, Han Fin stood in the rain outside a room. People whispered. Isn't that the heir apparent? Why won't Lord Thoy let him in? Better pretend we didn't notice matters involving the masters. The eldest miss had an accident at Prince Liang's residence. Prime Minister Thoy is just furious. Han Fin felt bitter. Standing there for a few watches of the night was nothing. Prime Minister Thoy stepped out with a stern expression. Everything in the residence is in chaos today. Please forgive me, but I cannot receive your highness the heir. Han Fin anxiously asked, How is eldest miss now? Prime Minister Thoy shouted, Your highness the heir, hear me clearly. I have only one wife and one daughter. You need not come here again in the future, and I will not be as lenient as I am today. Han Fin said angrily, I want to know what illness eldest Miss Thoy has. If it can even be called an illness. Prime Minister Thoy turned and left, saying, An incurable one. Soul loss syndrome. Your highness, please return. Han Fin felt as if struck by lightning. From then on, until one day, the young miss finally woke up. Eunice sat up. Her body was stiff, and she fell to the ground. The system sounded an alarm. Substitute AI program has encountered an unknown error. Rebooting. Eunice stood up. Her body seemed to be controlled by someone else. She moved forward mechanically and slammed her head into the door. The maid cried out anxiously. She hit it. Someone come quickly. The system announced, error detected. Rebooting later. Countdown until this hibernation ends. 3 minutes. Han Fin lifted the curtain. Eunice, barely conscious, asked, Who are you? He said, I am Han Fin. She snapped angrily, Stay away from me. Han Fin fell to the ground in worry. Eunice, she shouted angrily, I hate you. The game system announced again. Sudden AI mechanism now operating normally. Back in the present, Eunice lay in her room. It hurts too much now. I can't sleep. Hearing an unusual sound, Eunice became alert. Someone was approaching, so she quickly closed her eyes. Han Fin, wearing a mask, came near. Eunice was startled when she saw him. Han Fin put down the ointment and tucked the blanket over her. He said worriedly, If you can stay quiet for 2 days, the injury will get better. He gently lifted her foot. Eunice sat up and said, Good evening. You're much nicer than that heir apparent. Han Fin tensed, then gently tucked the blanket around her again. She looked at him fondly. Who are you? Don't tell me you're too handsome and just don't want me to see your face. Eunice placed a hand on his chest. Then she gently lifted his chin. Raise your head. Hamtin fros. He suddenly came to himself, stood up, and turned to leave. She started and fell down. Hey! Han Fin leapt out through the window. Eunice cried sadly. Little Han Fin, you idiot. Han Fin returned to his study in the darkness. After going inside, he removed his mask and fell into deep thought. His attendant said worriedly, Your Highness should rest soon. Dawn is almost here. There are less than 2 hours left before sunrise. Han Fin was silent. Tonight, eldest miss suddenly woke in the middle of the night. Before, she would never wake at that hour. If she recognizes me, how will I be able to meet her in the future? He opened a box containing a necklace and recalled their intimate moment from before. Today, it was as if she had suddenly become a different person. Different. This time, will she come back? For years earlier, Han Fin was riding horseback. A soldier said, Your Highness the heir, that Taoist priest said to be able to treat soul loss syndrome is living on the mountain ahead. Han Fin entered and was invited to tea. In a serious tone, he said, Please, Taoist master, tell me how to cure the illness. The Taoist replied unwillingly, Does anyone ask for help the way you do? 2 soldiers pressed, swords to his neck. Han Fin's voice darkened. If the Taoist master had not tried to flee, I would not have done this. The Taoist sighed. I really am impressed by you. This NPC is toxic. Didn't I already tell you before? Soul loss syndrome is just the disappearance of a few Hun and Puss souls. Isn't she still that same person? Did you bring what I was looking for? Han Fin said sadly, Right now, I only have one. The Taoist picked it up and examined it closely. This isn't necessary. Now I'll tell you how to cure soul loss syndrome. To return her soul to its proper place, you must call her name often. That is the only way her soul can come back. But very few people can persist. Soul loss syndrome may look foolish at first, and after some time, she'll appear no different from a normal person, but that does not mean the illness is gone. In any case, it's a bug. What a nuisance. The Taoist called to Han Thin. Give me your hand. He tied a red string around it. Now call her name. Han Thin obediently said, Uni. Suddenly, the red string snapped. The Taoist explained, that's how it works. If her soul returns, the red string won't break. You still have 3 chances left. Remember, never stop calling her. Otherwise, if she can't come back, I'll have no other way either. The Taoist waved his hand and left. Go on, stop bothering me. Han Thin smiled with relief. Thank you, master. The next morning, Uni grumbled angrily. Han Little Thin, you jerk. You made me lose a whole night of sleep. The maid came and pulled her along. Miss, stop playing around. A guest has come again. Hearing that, she let out a surprised sound. In the main hall of the Prime Minister's residence, Han Quan asked worriedly, I heard Xiaoyu was injured while out yesterday, so I hurried over once I finished my matters. Prime Minister Doi and Madam are not in the capital, so I'll apologize to them when they return. Uni said cheerfully, Oh, are we really that close? An apology sounds a bit excessive. Han Quan hesitated, then asked, Does Uni know what Prime Minister Doi and the others have gone to do? Uni ate as she spoke. What do you mean by that? Your Highness the Crown Prince. Han Quan said sorrowfully, Kuer is going to southern border for a political marriage. Prime Minister Doi brought Madam to the lower palace to help arrange the related matters. Iunyi, are you really not going to the lower palace to see Kuer? Once she leaves this time, she won't be able to come back. Uni, who had been eating pastries, was so startled that one fell to the floor. She anxiously said, How can you let the princess go for a political marriage? You're her own brother, the dignified crown prince. Don't you know how dangerous it is? He immediately replied, Before, I thought you no longer cared about Kuer at all. Uni said angrily, Are you an idiot too? Whether I care or not, I still don't want her sent off to die. In the original game plot, once the princess is sent away for marriage, there's only one ending for her death. Uni put on her glasses as a large screen appeared before her. She tapped the screen lightly. Crown Prince route. The true main storyline passed around among players. Little robot voices buzzed noisily. Why is it that even after marrying the Crown Prince, the ending is still just a B? My God, the Crown Prince route is full of moral burden and proper palace intrigue. This really is for hardcore text lovers. Have you noticed? Whenever someone enters the Crown Prince's bad ending route, the eldest princess always gets sent away in marriage. Oh no, my little princess. Once the sickly princess exits the stage, is that officially the game's built-in minor protection? Does the princess have any follow-up plotline after that? She answered no, because in the second year after her distant marriage, the princess dies. Conspiracy. This is absolutely a conspiracy. Everybody, team up, guide group, hurry and come with me to replay the Crown Prince route one more time. A pink-haired boy had tears rolling down his cheeks. I want to go too, but I probably won't even survive until the princess's second year after marriage. Uni said seriously, Nam Yin is wealthy, sitting atop the granary of the realm. If war really broke out, defeating the southern border tribes one by one would not be difficult. Yet you, the Crown Prince, want to use your own sister's marriage to preserve peace. Won't you regret it? Anquan Luca Trublat. Uni thought to herself, not only was the time I entered the game wrong, even the order of the plot has started getting mixed up. The Crown Prince said, Of course I understand, but there's only one Eastern Palace seat. This was Father Emperor's will. Aye, she advised, and this was your will too. Since you've made your choice, don't pretend to be pitiful. She turned and left with the maid, leaving the Crown Prince behind, his heart aching so much that he clenched his hand until it bled. He said sternly, Return to the palace. At the Eastern Palace, maids whispered among themselves, What's wrong with His Highness the Crown Prince? He went to the study again. Does noble consort mother still not know? If it's not illness, then what is it? His own younger sister is about to be married off, yet he still hasn't gone to the lower palace to see her. Han Quan entered the study and read intently. Uni returned, feeling aggrieved. I'm so angry I could die. What are those men even thinking? The maid comforted her. Miss, if you want to go to the lower palace to see the princess, then hurry and go. Sai. I'm not going. I just want to get out and breathe some air. Go prepare clothes for me. Wait, let me ask you something. Why is there a whole group of musicians dressed so much like me? Has anything else happened in the capital lately? The maid said, nothing new in the capital. It's mainly that these past 2 years, Madame feared people outside would say unpleasant things. So during festivals, she always took you to banquets. Who would have thought the outfits you wore would become the trend in the capital? No matter what you wear, it becomes fashionable. Yuni looked smug. So that's how it is. The maid said uncertainly. I'm guessing the musicians you saw were headed to the lower palace to send the eldest princess off for marriage. Yuni said blankly, well then, if anyone finds out I'm going there to stop the political marriage, I'll definitely be surrounded to death in Shanjing. But luckily, I've already found a way through my own past. As for little Han Thin, just wait until I return from the lower palace, then I'll settle the score with you. That night, Han Thin burst into the room. He pulled back the curtains and saw that she was fast asleep. He opened the box, took out the red string, and used a spell to calm the fire in his heart. Han Thin thought this was his last chance. He tied it to her wrist and called out, Doyuni, but the red string remained intact. Overjoyed, he realized she really had come back. Han Thin left and returned to his room to write. His attendant said worriedly, Your Highness, if you don't rest, it'll be dawn soon. Han Thin said happily, this time, she really has come back. Tomorrow, remember to help me ask for leave. I want to visit the Doi residence. The attendant was stunned. What? Aren't you afraid of being thrown out? Han Thin replied, Before, I didn't want to get close to the eldest miss, because I always felt she was someone else. Now that her soul has returned to its place, even if she still resents me and hates me, I still have to go find her. The next morning, Han Thin arrived at the Doi residence. The heir of Prince Liang's Yong'an estate has come to pay a visit. Han Thin was dressed splendidly and looked radiant. His attendant carried a huge pile of gifts. Your Highness, these are all expensive enough already. Han Thin said cheerfully, All right, now we just wait. Yuni's maid cried out in a panic. Oh no, the eldest miss is gone again. He asked anxiously what happened. Didn't I tell people to keep watch near the Doi residence? The attendant was frightened. How could this happen? Last night we all stayed farther away. Unless the eldest miss ran out by herself. Antin snapped angrelu. She must have gone to Xia Palace. Hurry and find a way to pay a visit there. Inside the Doi residence, Yuni, who had been sleeping, suddenly sat up. What time is it? What time is it? If I don't get up now, I'll be late. Spring was still cold. Thinking back over her battle plan, she quickly changed clothes. If people find out I'm going to sabotage the marriage alliance, I'll definitely be locked up in the capital. I can only avoid everyone and go to Xia Palace first to look for an opportunity. Yuni looked in the mirror, nervously, then suddenly noticed a red string on her hand. What's this? Early that morning, Yuni stood behind a wall. My plan only has 3 steps, easy and simple. Step 1, get to Xia Palace first. Step 2, tell the princess about the danger to her loved ones. Step 3, directly ruin the marriage alliance. Holding a flower branch, that was all she could think of for now. When 2 young women turned to look at her, she quickly covered her face with the branch. Which palace are you from? Why haven't I ever seen you before? Yuni tensed up. I only arrived a few days ago. Mrs. Doi doesn't like these flowers, so she deliberately told me to make a trip to the East Hall and exchange them. The girl said in surprise, so that's it. Then we'll go change them right away. Yuni replied, yes, thank you both so much. After seeing the 2 of them leave, she breathed a sigh of relief. Excited, Yuni jumped onto the flower cart and lay down on it happily. A good start is half the battle, just like I thought. I may not be able to get past the air wall myself, but that doesn't mean I can't hitch a ride. Yuni returned to the boat. Hey, if we don't set sail now, will we still make it in time? The young man said in surprise. What are you doing here? You're the one I accidentally mistook for one of my people, right? I'm a reasonable man, so just go home. Yuni took off her hat and said, even if I ran away once, the job still has to go on. Since you mistook me anyway, you might as well take me along. He was startled. You? Yuni said confidently, it's not like I know musical instruments, but if I don't know, I can learn. If I stay on the boat long enough, I'll definitely pick it up. He pointed at her injured leg. In your condition, you're still going? If some noble bullies you there, I won't care. If you're unlucky, you could even lose your head. Yuni took off her bracelet and said, "You don't need to worry about that. Do I look scared to you?" She handed him the bracelet, leaving him stunned. Yuni turned and started to leave. He immediately said, "Then, get ready to board." The boat weighed anchor and set out. Once aboard, he asked her, "By the way, what's the name of the girl you're replacing?" Not really sure. I only know her name is Achi." Yuni began practicing the flute on the boat. 5 days later, everyone shouted excitedly, "We're here. Up ahead is Xia Palace." Yuni looked at Xia Palace as everyone got off the boat and went inside. "Come on over there. First, let the noble lady have a look." Yuni looked around in fear. "That's Han Tin. Why is he here too?" Han Fin raised his head and saw her. Yuni immediately covered herself with her sleeve. "Don't see me, don't see me," Han Fin thought to himself. Yuni stepped forward and opened the palace doors. "They're here. Go in and pay your respects to Her Highness the Princess." Yuni went in and secretly peeked at the princess. Han Lin sat there arrogantly and said, "Why have you stopped? Next should be music and dancing, right?" A servant knelt and reported, "Your Highness, last time we mentioned there was a musician who resembled the eldest Miss Thoy." The princess moved closer to Yuni in surprise and lifted her chin. "You really do look alike. It's just a pity you're not her." Embarrassed, Yuni said, "I didn't expect to look so much like the eldest miss." She sighed in relief. "That scared me to death. I thought she'd recognized me." Han Lin waved her hand. "You may leave." Everyone obeyed and withdrew. Yuni thought she had escaped, but Han Lin stopped her. "This princess didn't say you could go. What's your name?" Yuni thought fearfully. "Don't panic. Didn't I come here to tell the princess not to go through with the marriage alliance?" Iuni ganmet hosai. "Hey!" Achi Han Lin turned away. "Sitting in this room is making me sleepy. Come out to the courtyard with me." Yuni was startled. "Princess." The two of them held hands and walked out into the courtyard, going out a stroll. Yuni took out her flute and played, and Han Lin got a headache listening to it. Rubbing her forehead, she casually praised her, "Very good. Next time, don't." She looked at Yuni in surprise. Her smile was very much like when she was little. After finishing, Yuni thought to herself, praise me. Han Lin gently patted her head. "Next time, come practice with me. This princess will listen to you play." At Xia Palace, Yuni lay sprawled on the table in exhaustion. "Princess," Han Lin sighed. "What is it? Why do you keep calling me like that?" Yuni said worriedly, "Your Highness really shouldn't go through with a marriage alliance. It's both hard and dangerous. Xia Palace is so beautiful. Why go all the way to Southern Frontier?" Han Ling got angry. "What do you know? I am Nam Yan's only princess. Who do you expect to marry in my place?" Yuni covered her face. "It'd be fine if no one went at all." Han Lin said angrily, "Put your hands down." Then she said more softly, "This marriage alliance is a major matter of state. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll have someone drag you out and beat you at the board. Sit down now and don't cover your face. Don't be afraid of me." Iu Ni Sai. "Oh." Han Lin smiled and said, "You're actually quite bold. Just now you were like her, not afraid of me at all. Why are you scared now? Go back first. I'll rest for a while." Yuni felt uneasy. "You never listen to good advice. I came here to save you." She stepped outside, looked at her through the crack in the door, then left sadly. As she walked, she thought, could it be that the new king of Southern Frontier is some heartless scoundrel who's already tricked the princess body and soul? "I'm trying to stop you from marrying that faithless man, okay?" She lowered her head with a sigh, then bumped into Han Fin and fell backward. But fortunately, he caught her. The two stared into each other's eyes. Embarrassed, Yuni covered her face. "Sorry, I didn't mean to run into you." She thought nervously, why did Han Fin suddenly appear? This is bad. He'll recognize me. Han Fin coughed tiredly a few times. Ahem, ahem. I only just arrived at Xia Palace and got lost. Could this young lady please show me the way back to Chinyan Pavilion? Iu ni ba ni. Oh no, the system is gone, and I don't know the roads in Xia Palace either. She tried to conjure up a map in her mind. Not daring to look him in the face, she said, I just arrived too, so I don't know very well. I think it's to the right. Or, why don't I go check over there first? She started to leave, but Han Fin caught the edge of her sleeve and asked, What's your name? Yuni answered fearfully, A. Achi Han Fin said coolly, Very well. Achi the right side is the main hall. Do you know that Prime Minister Thoy and his wife are currently in charge at Xia Palace? There just happen to be several ministers discussing matters in the main hall right now. Yuni became anxious. This is bad. I almost forgot my parents are at Xia Palace too. Other people might mistake me, but my parents are different. They'd recognize me at a glance. Han Thin said gently, then let's try the path on the left. Seeing him keep coughing, Yuni asked, Your Highness, are you ill? He replied, The chill of spring hasn't passed. I paid a visit to an old acquaintance at night, and unexpectedly caught a cold. I came to Xia Palace this time precisely to recover. Yuni was surprised. So Han Xiathan got sick because he was taking care of me. Han Thin continued, It's convenient enough to come by carriage from the capital. It's just that Xia Palace does feel rather lonely in the end. At Chinyin Pavilion, Yuni said awkwardly, Since your highness has arrived at your residence, you should rest more. It would be better. Then I will. Until suddenly remember it. Right? Would you like some fruit? Yuni's eyes lit up, and she nearly drooled with excitement. Fruit? Han Thin said smugly, Bought in the capital. It was originally meant to entertain an old friend. But unfortunately, over these past years, we've only drifted apart. We are no longer friends. Yuni felt troubled. I didn't expect Han Thin to have been so pitiful these past 2 years. Then let's eat together. Your Highness, could you reward me with a little food? The two of them went into the room together. The two sat eating fruit happily. Han Thin asked smugly, Is it good? Yuni said cheerfully, Of course it's good. He poured tea and continued, Xia Palace is preparing for the princess's grand wedding. So many nobles come and go. Usually they are all in the East Hall and the main hall. I heard that a few days ago, Prime Minister Thoi's only daughter suddenly went missing. The couple may want to return to the capital. Yuni choked when she heard this. He asked her, You look exactly like the eldest Miss Thoi. Are you the eldest Miss Thoi? Iuni Froda. Han Thin lifted the fan in front of himself like a shield. Iuni stai balang li. I'm not. Han Thin asked with a smug smile. Really? With a straight face, she said, Really? Otherwise, I wouldn't be greedily eating your highness's fruit. Han Tin Smi Lit. I forgot. Your name is Chi. Chi is also one of the musicians preparing for the princess's wedding. Later, the princess will take you all to Southern Frontier. Yuni tensed up. Has Han Xiathan recognized me or not? Or did he recognize me and just not say anything? Could it be that Han Xiathan came to help me? Han Thin said seriously, Today is the day the new king of Southern Frontier arrives. The grand wedding is only 15 days away. If a Chi needs to bid farewell to family and friends, perhaps I can help a little as thanks to you. Iuni Sai. Actually, I don't want to go to Southern Frontier. If the princess doesn't have to marry for the alliance, then naturally we won't have to go either. He said coolly, so the key lies in the marriage alliance. Thinking of her parents, Yuni thought, if something goes wrong after the alliance marriage leaves the capital, everyone involved might shirk responsibility. Could the one held accountable be mother or father? Fearfully, she added, There's also one more thing. If the new king of Southern Frontier and the princess truly are a match made in heaven, as the saying goes, better to demolish 10 temples than break up one marriage, right? Han Tin Smi Lit. Yuni got angry. What's so funny? Han Thin covered his mouth, looking innocent. This heir isn't laughing. As he peeled an orange, he continued, The new king of Southern Frontier is a mysterious man. In just 2 years, he unified all the tribes of Southern Frontier. I heard he's still very young, around the princess's age, which is why this marriage alliance came about. Originally, the various Southern Frontier tribes fought each other constantly and were no match for Nam-Yen. But now they all serve the new king, and their blades are pointed toward Nam-Yen. Yuni said worriedly, If the princess marries over there and isn't favored, then? Han Thin replied, When the crucial moment comes, Nam-Yen won't give up the chance to send troops first. As for the princess, her chances of survival would be slim. Yuni continued, eating the orange. Looks like I should first take a look at this new king of Southern Frontier. Maybe I can find some turning point. Outside the capital gates, a luxurious carriage stopped before the city. A servant lifted the curtain and reported, Your Highness, we've arrived. Lunan stepped down looking imposing. But before long, his whole body started trembling from the cold. Shivering, he said cold. I've never come to Nam-Yen in winter or spring before. I didn't expect it to be this cold. He stretched out both hands to warm them. But his attendant disapproved. In the capital, Prime Minister Thoi bowed in greeting. Welcome, Prince Yajin. Lunan replied pleasantly, Prime Minister Thoi, there's no need for such courtesy. Prime Minister Thoi said coolly, I keep feeling that Prince Yajin looks very familiar. At that moment, Prince Yajin grew solemn, just as he was now. The Lan clan is a great tribe. There's so many descendants who look like me that we could hold a mountain song festival. If Prime Minister Thoi wishes to mock me. This is my first time in Namyen. It's also my first time learning that March can still be this cold. Can spring really get any colder? Before the struggle for the state, a carriage raced through the forest at night. Inside, he said, hurry up. Lunan's face was full of killing intent. That emperor of Nam, Yin truly is a master strategist. It seems we not only lack the ability to play a game of chess against him, we may even have to become his pieces. The young master said angrily, I told you we shouldn't have provoked the emperor of Nam Yin. Who knows what poison they might have put in their banquet, and that soul law sickness too. They tossed all that troublesome business involving that precious woman's life onto us. It's true that Nam, Yin being able to burn glass is a little enviable, but why did it have to turn out like this? Thinking of Uni, Lu Nan felt regret. Suddenly, he turned and shouted, What's there to regret? He stared blankly and realized Lu Nan had vanished. He angrily shoved open the window. You! Lu Nan jumped out, and the forest suddenly burst into flames. At Zhenyan Pavilion, Uni had finished every last piece of fruit, her belly round as a drum. She said in surprise, Your Highness, I should be going back now. He came to himself and said softly, It's all right. You can stay here and play a while longer. Uni said awkwardly, Your Highness should rest properly. If you're sick, you really need to rest well. I need to hurry and go check on the princess and the new king over there. Han Fin said coolly, You still want to go? Then in the future, if you have free time, come sit with me at Zhenyan Pavilion. Come here every day and spend about an hour with me. Uni's eyes lit up. All right. Han Ziathan, you really did come here to be a good person. The two went out for a walk. Han Fin said, Few people usually come to Xia Palace, but in a few days there will be more and more envoys. Going in directly will be inconvenient. How about? Uni asked curiously, How about what? He lowered his head and tapped her nose. Take the less crowded route. Hold on to me. He wrapped an arm around her and lifted her up onto the roof. The two sat down. He whispered, Look. Uni was startled. Han Lin said arrogantly, Prime Minister Thoi, everyone knows to avoid suspicion, yet you people still don't understand. This is marriage talk, and you still insist on sticking your foot into it. Then stay and watch if you like. The eunuchs were tense with fear. Your Highness, your words are too harsh. Anin said sharply, No. A princess residence hasn't even been established for me, and now I'm to be married off to southern frontier. I'm not some monkey for you to raise in a cage for amusement. Lu Nan said calmly, It seems the princess is dissatisfied. This king is dissatisfied as well. I request a different bride. Han Lin shouted angrily, How dare you? The eunuchs anxiously called out, Princess, please calm your anger. She said furiously, What status do you have to speak to this princess that way? In your southern frontier, this princess could crush you like a shrimp, yet you still dare put on airs before me? Lunan smiled. Does the princess wish to marry into southern frontier and throw her weight around as a ruler? But among all the people I have unified in southern frontier, the ones I kill most are my political enemies. If you marry me, you'll have nightmares every day. Are you not afraid? Han Lin angrily rolled up her sleeves. Outside, everyone tried to stop her. Princess, don't be angry. Hurry and summon the Prime Minister. Looks like things are more complicated than I thought. Han Fin said coolly, They say the princess is arrogant, and even the people around her bully her. Don't you hate her? Uni immediately replied, No. Why would I hate her? Because in the system, the first item in the guidance progress, the third item in the guidance progress. Week 10 of the guidance progress. Anyway, I definitely won't hate her. I just need to think of a way to call off the engagement. Han Fin whispered, Then what about me? Now that you've come back, do you hate me? Uni didn't hear clearly and said, Han Fin said awkwardly, It's nothing. Han Fin carried her back down. Uni seemed to have completely gotten used to it. Why didn't you keep flying? He blushed. We're here. Uni said blankly, I really didn't mean to offend your highness. It's no problem. I still have important business to attend to. So this heir will take his leave first. Uni called after him, Your Highness, see you tomorrow, Your Highness. Han Fin happily answered, see you tomorrow. Uni thought shyly, so handsome. Since when did Han Ziathan start liking to smile so much? In the main hall, Suehua Hall, everyone was buzzing with discussion. Han Fin lowered his head in salute. Prime Minister Doi. The man glanced at him and replied, Heir of Vinin, it would be better if you did not go in. Han Fin said firmly, I came to speak with Prime Minister Doi in private. Whether I go in or not is beside the point. The crowd began whispering, so that's how it is. Then we won't disturb his heirship and the Prime Minister. This one was even harder to provoke. Han Fin said sternly, Thank you. Earlier, I specifically came to inform the Prime Minister about the disappearance of his eldest daughter. Now that I have found her, I came to report it as well. Prime Minister Doi snapped angrily. You, Han Fin continued. The eldest miss is safe and sound. In a few days, she will return home on her own. There is no need for you to tire yourself by rushing back to the capital, Prime Minister. This heir, have been ill long enough to become an idle man, so I will not disturb you from continuing your duties. After Han Fin left, Prime Minister Doi called after him. And what was the result of your father following the trail before? The heir of Vin remains the same as before. He brought no women with him and found no one resembling the eldest miss. He snorted coldly, pretending to be ill, yet riding through the night to the summer palace. Could he really be avoiding suspicion in front of me? Is Yuni's disappearance truly unrelated to him? Deeper in the woods, Han Fin called out, Sherwu. The man appeared at once and bowed respectfully. Your subordinate is here. Han Fin asked what happened. Sherwu replied, Everything is as usual. It's just that the matter you ordered Lord Tang to handle is almost taken care of. Han Fin said seriously, In a few days it will be mid-month. As usual, Tang Mu will go to the Doi residence to visit the eldest miss. He must not discover that she is missing. Throw some female assassin in there for me, if you must. Let Tang Mu figure out how to deal with it himself these next few days. In the capital, Imperial Guard Tang Mu was writing a report when he suddenly sneezed. On the morning of the first day, Han Lin and Uni went out into the courtyard to play and feed the birds. That afternoon, Uni and Han Fin sat inside drinking tea, eating fruit. Han Fin took a sip of tea and called Sherwu. The man immediately appeared. Your subordinate is here. The marriage alliance matter in the main hall still hasn't been decided today. Doi Uni let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, there was one more day to think of a solution. The next morning, she went out with the younger princess to bask in the sun. Uni was practically going out of her mind, trying to think of a way to break off the marriage. The following afternoon, Sherwu came in to report. There is still no decision today regarding the marriage alliance. Uni said tiredly, I didn't expect all these people with their soft words to be unable to find out anything at all.